pause that until, they actually start the meeting.
So see when you get recording.
Thank you all for your patience. We'll call the meeting to order. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. So moved. Welcome to the December 2024 meeting of the Community Board 2 Manhattan Cannabis Licensing Committee. Tonight we have 14 applications to review. Actually, one was laid over, one was withdrawn. So that would be 12 that we're going to hear this evening. Additionally, we have some guests from last month. While we are we're beyond the comment period for those applications, we welcome the applicants back to give us an update on their progress and their plans. So we're going to start there. So Juan Torres, who is applying for a dispensary at 598 Broadway.
Yes.
Please, you have the floor. You can stand anywhere in this corridor.
Good.
Good evening.
Just got over back surgery. So all is well. Just wanted to present myself to the board. I apologize I couldn't make it last time. I'm not sure if they told you, but I was a witness for some really cool stuff. It's the only way I could put it. If you want to ask me about it later, call me and I'll tell you all about it. But we have done our community outreach. The neighborhood is aware of what we're doing, the steps we have taken, the experiences that we have. We got a letter from one of our neighbors. They said, hey, no problem, we have no problem. Now, one of the issues that we do run in, and maybe you have some advice. Some of these corporate folks, they're not willing to give us a letter unless we go to their corporate lawyers, and we've tried. I used to work at Amazon, so I have friends at Target, and I've tried. It's like running into a brick wall because we want to work with everyone, and we want to appease you guys as well. However, how? Sometimes it's really difficult with some of these corporate folks. But the Harley Davidson folks, very nice, very welcoming. We reached out to our neighbors upstairs. Everybody's aware, we gave them our plan. We made ourselves accessible.
What was the response from the residents of the building?
Very passive. It's very like, all right, cool. What are your hours? When do you open? We provided them the hours. We actually have a form I can send you later that we gave them, and everybody's aware of what our hours will be, what we're going to bring to the community. We're going to make sure everything is clean, the level of security that we can increase. It's a relatively safe neighborhood, but I went to school here and around there, so sometimes at night it can be a little dicey. And I figure with our 2 to 3 security guards, that will increase the presence, security posture, if you will. But they were just worried about what our hours were going to be, but we took it a step further and said, no, it's not just about the hours. We're actually going to do good stuff. We're not going to taint the neighborhood. We're in compliance with our advertising and all that stuff. We know exactly how we are going to position ourselves, and they seem to be okay with it.
Okay. Well, we're glad to hear it. We're not going to take questions on these because we've already made a recommendation to the OCM, and again are outside of the comment period. So even if we were to reverse our decision, the OCM would just send us a friendly email saying, thank you, you have missed the deadline to comment on this application.
Understood.
But thank you so much, and please do keep in touch. We're so glad to meet you in person.
No problem.
And best of luck to you.
Thank you. I'm very accessible. You guys can email me, text me anytime. So I'm right over the river.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks. Are we having 69 games for it or no?
You might. See, we're here.
Oh, all right. So last month we had an application for 69 Gainsbourg, fondly known to us as Floron, to us old folks anyway. And there have been some changes to that application. Again, we are outside the comment period. We cannot weigh in further on that application, but we've invited them back to share update on their plans for the dispensary to be located at 69 Gainsbourg. Please.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Will you please, for the record, state your name
Of course, my name is Bonnie Lippman.
and you?
Jeffrey Schultz,
Wonderful.
counsel for Griffin Green.
So I'm also a fan of Florence, or was a fan of Florence. I lived in meatpacking for close to 20 years, and I went to Florence all the time. Someone was gonna open a cannabis business in this location, and as the process went along, I figured, why not me?
Okay.
Yeah,
So really, you know, we are tasked with commenting on time, place, and manner of cannabis dispensaries, and I think the issue with this one was manner. Your partner, Michael Shaw, is well known to this board, and the manner in which he historically has operated his businesses has not been exactly conducive to the community. I see in the questionnaire that you submitted that we can, again, can't consider, sorry, because of the timeline, but that the percentage has changed, yet the articles of incorporation still state he's a sole member of the LLC.
That's, that was, out of,
no, they've been amended.
that was out of for administrative ease. It was filled out with his name on it, but we have an executed operating agreement that has Bonnie as.
I'm the only member.
She's the, well, she's a 51% owner, she's the only manager, and because of, as Mara, I know you're well aware, the C requirements. And Bonnie is a C applicant, to qualify for C status, she has to have quote sole control, which is a statutory definition, and the operating agreement. Mirrors those requirements, so having sole control over that LLC. Effectively means, you know, she is the judge and jury, and she makes the decisions, and Michael owns voting shares, but he only owns 49%. So will not be active in the day-to-day and is not permitted by the governing documents to make any major decisions.
However, he is the landlord as well,
Yeah.
which does, it arguably gives him a little more influence, does it not?
I think you could, I think reasonable minds could differ about that, and I think, as you know, that's the case with virtually every application in New York. Someone, the landlord's on most of these cap tables. So there's varying degrees of control.
All right. Again, we're not gonna take questions. Thank you, Bonnie, so much for coming in. I will say hi. I would like to connect you both with our board member, Carter Booth, who might like to meet you.
Of course.
And talk. Yeah. So, thank you again.
Thank
Do
you.
keep in touch, keep us abreast of your progress, and best of luck to you.
Thanks so much.
Wonderful. Thanks for coming by. All right. Oh, yeah, everybody's playing. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. As some of you may know, we had 77 applications last month. And due in no part in any way to the applicants, I was unable to complete the resolutions in time for our full board meeting. It was just the volume. When this happens, for whatever reason, we commit back to committee the resolutions from the previous month. So actually we need Cheryl for this until we find out if Ron. So
Okay.
we're gonna do a quick readoption of those at some point when we have quorum. Until that time, we are going to get started. Is anyone here from Of the Earth Canna for 428 Broadway? Keston Mayers? No? Friendly Flower? Nope. All right, I'm gonna do it this way, actually. Mocha Joint and SOHO Dispensary Corp. No. New York Retail for Inc. Rosebud Club, 37 Cornelia Street. Oh, that's your other. Oh, that's you guys.
Hi.
All right, great. Please come on up.
Hello.
Hey, how are
I'm
you?
well, how are you?
Good, will you please state your name?
I'm Rachel Katz.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And please feel free to sit.
Sure.
Actually, I don't know why I didn't invite people to sit. Or where's Mark? Are we good?
Yeah, I can see her.
All right, great. So Rachel, you have an adult use retail dispensary application, sorry.
No worries.
Somebody's wearing perfume. Can I have a pilgrim? At 37 Cornelia Street.
Yes,
Why don't you tell us a little about your business?
yeah. So, I've been interested in being in the space for some time. Have this location and a lease signed, which I feel really grateful about. And looking to just be part of a community that's going to, really, support having a safe, solid, community of, you know, cannabis dispensary that is all about, you know, taking care of each other and being really thoughtful about how this will go down, uprooting the bad apples who have infiltrated the scene and really made it unsafe. My hope and dream is to really elevate the space to something that feels more rooted in, you know, clean and supportive, community focused kind of dispensary.
Wonderful. Currently, that location is being operated as the Green Room,
Yes.
which is a licensed CBD shop.
Yes,
Is that correct? But, you know, maybe selling more,
yeah,
we pretty commonly known or believed, I don't wanna say, definitively. What is your association with the Green Room?
no association, it's just totally random, actually. That space, I was able to secure a lease there. I actually have a letter from the landlord as well. It just happens to be that we are looking to be in that space. I love that area. I have roots down there. I used to live on University Place for many years. Here we are again. And that just so happens to be a dispensary that might be doing other things.
And there's, you know, a sizable illicit dispensary.
Yes.
Actually, we went in and talked to them. It connects to your space.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
What is the association there?
Absolutely nothing. This is all, but there's also next to Toke, which is a Mexican restaurant, there's also another space that is, but I believe is
Yeah.
illegal as well.
Yeah.
I know that they're selling illegal California products as well, so yeah, this is exactly totally random by chance. So my hope is for those players to leave so that people who are really committed to doing this right will get in to secure a safe product.
Okay. You're also pretty close to, what is it, Great Oaks
Yes.
Yeah.
Charter School?
Yeah,
Have you spoken to
I
them?
did. I went in, I met a bunch of people in the neighborhood, and I went in and met with the parent coordinator named Trixie, who works with the principal. He was not available, but I just, you know, wanted to let her know what my plan is, and she received it really well. Was grateful that I came by, wanted to know more. I'm actually a personal development coach, a grief counselor. I really feel that this is another modality of healing if it's done properly, but I'm also a parent. I have a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old. It means nothing more to me than to get rid of these harmful smoke shops that are on every corner. I literally am afraid of them, and while I believe in the power of cannabis, I also want to be thoughtful about its dangers, and so it's important to bond and connect with the community like Great Oaks and various other establishments. So I connected with them.
How'd you get hooked up with Unlock
I'm personally not involved in Unlock, but I would like to connect with them to, find some potential staff and, have them support this, as a real local community. I think it's really important for players who've not been treated well, by this drug war, et cetera, that they, get some, a place. to be
Do you
part of this.
partner?
I do not have a partner. This is all me, which is kind of crazy and exciting.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's exciting. All right. Does the committee have any questions?
Yeah, I have. Will you have delivery?
Yes.
Can you talk about your security plan and what education you will have for your customers, because you're near that school or whoever might walk in?
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever, so Sapphire is the name of the, security system that I believe that we'll be employing. I want to get a really seasoned professional who, will make not only me, but also within 100 feet and beyond. Really, the people in this community feel like we are actually part of this. I want them to have numbers of whoever's in charge, so that if something feels off, they can actually go there and get support. But yeah, full surveillance cameras, sensors, all the things, really important to keep this safe for people in and out of the facility.
And the education, will you have events or some kind of education that you're gonna provide customers if they need education on the product?
Yeah, I mean, that would be my dream. I love, I feel like I'm a part of communicating and teaching is what I do in my heart, so I would love to educate. I also want to really open this up to some of the local establishments as well. If they wanted to learn more and get to know me and this establishment, that would be a dream.
Are there residential apartments?
So,
I don't believe there's residential in there. We actually have the space above as well as part of the lease.
So you'll
The
be
apartment.
operating 3 levels? Or is it 2 levels?
It's 2 levels. So like, delivery, for example, I would want to keep bikes up there or whatever, so that it's not on the street. That's really important to me. The facade, the outdoors look really clean. But yeah, I believe it's 2.
All right.
it's a residential block, it's a really quiet block.
Yes.
And the Cornelia Street Block Association are
Did you reach
serious
out to-
people.
Yeah, have you reached out to
Have you
anyone?
spoken to
I have
them?
not, well, Toke, the restaurant, I actually have a signed letter from, I don't know if he's the CEO, actually, my husband knows him well, Josh. So,
But
um,
residents really.
residents, I do not, but, I would be really happy to go meet a few and any suggestions.
Door knocking,
Yeah,
good
yeah,
old fashioned door
I
knocking.
like it. I have to say, when I was down there, a couple of times in the last 2 weeks, I also met Nick, who's a pastor at the community church on Bleecker. You're
Yeah.
familiar with that?
Are they,
church?
are they still
Not-
operational?
No, well, they have an office and they rent the space to students for various events, but,
Do they do services
they
there?
do not, they do not. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that,
They're on a different block road than you.
okay, doesn't matter. But anyhow, I think it was really important to really do that door knocking piece, and it felt good to connect with people, real people.
Yeah, it's super important because it
Yeah.
also allows you to learn about, the neighborhood in which you plan to do business, hopefully for a long time, right?
For sure.
Invaluable information you get from the neighbors, super important.
I don't see the hours on the questionnaire.
12 to 12.
Yeah, they are 12 to 12.
Yeah.
That was my next question.
Uh,
12 to 12, Monday to Saturday, 12 to 8, Sunday. Yeah, that 12 to 12, what are the Toke hours? Did they close at 10?
I don't know. Good question, I can find out, of course. Do you feel it should be concurrent with their hours?
Well, I don't feel either way.
Mhm.
I feel like if we had the benefit of, the neighbors being able to weigh in on this, they would say, we want it 10, it needs to be done, we have enough problems, or they would say, oh, this is great, we want more light on the block late night, will you
Sure.
stay open even later? You don't know what they're gonna say until you talk to them.
Cornelia Street specifically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they have a block association.
Yeah,
right?
they have a block association, so they close at 11 every day, they're 11 to 11 every day.
Well,
Yeah.
whatever, you know, the neighbors, community felt was right, would be the way we would pursue, you know, that's important.
Did you talk to the operators of greenhouse, whatever they're called, and see how business is?
I did not actually, I visited the space just to see what it looked like, but, I didn't really
You didn't
engage.
tell them,
Yeah,
I'm putting you out?
I did not.
Anthony?
Just make sure you inquire with the 3 neighbors that you indicated on the application.
Yeah.
Inquire with them.
Well, let them know.
Oh, yeah, share your letters with us, whatever
Okay.
you have, please.
Well, I have a signed letter from my landlord. And from Toke. But, I have email exchanges with, where is it? I have email exchanges with, some of the folks, including, the school. And,
Can I take a picture of this?
of course. Oh, here we go. This is from, sorry. That's from Toke.
Sorry. Is it the same letter?
It's the same letter, it's a form letter, yeah.
You can get the block association information from our CB2 office.
Great.
The email, the contact.
Thank you. That's important. I'm grateful I learned about that.
Is that the same letter? Can I?
Yes, of course. Right?
Sorry. Yeah.
Huh?
All right, yeah. Yes, yeah. Thank you so much. Are there any more questions?
Thank you. Not for me.
Are there any questions from the public?
Yeah, any,
Is this the corner building?
No.
No, it's one in,
So that's not the right address, right?
37, it is, there's an apartment building and then this place is just north of it, inside Cornelia.
Because I was just looking at the pictures and it looks like there's only one storefront in the building, that's not correct.
No,
So, because I think that other 2-story extension, that's where you're located?
it's about 40, 50 feet north of Bleecker on Cornelia on the west side of the street.
So that's where the green room,
Yeah,
yes.
so
Opposite
that's,
the concrete.
that's 39 Cornelia.
oh, it is?
I don't think that's 37. Why I was confused.
37 Cornelia Street. It is, it's part of the residential building there.
It's
That's what's on the
only a
lease.
2-story building, right?
It's a 2-story building, yeah. But
Right.
that's what the lease is for that space. I don't know, maybe.
Do you want to go on this web and look at it?
Because I'm looking at the Zola, which has it as 35 Cornelia Street. And it's it's a separate landlord. Because you're saying 257 is the landlord, but that's not the owner. For what it looks like is the small shop. And that's,
Wait, what? 257 Bleecker?
37 and then this shows up, 257 Bleecker shows up. And
Oh,
so,
it's the same building.
yeah, that's why,
And the
It's a
230,
mixed
257
residential.
Bleecker is the illicit shop, right?
well, I don't see another storefront that's under the 37. It appears that the building in which we're talking about is. where
It
the
is.
green room is.
Well, we did say they were
It's 35.
connected. the spaces are physically connected. So we are gonna need clarification on that.
Okay, I'll find out.
You have the opportunity to withdraw if you so choose and, come back with, can we withdraw if we've already begun proceedings? I'm asking you, Carter.
Well, I don't know, I'm just saying that the notice is for one address and it's just
So
what it
when I put in the
appears
green
to be.
room, which is the space she put on her notice form, it comes up 37 Cornelia, so
Okay, I mean, it's possible, and that's why I'm just asking from here.
That's the space that we plan to go in, wherever the green room is, that's.
do you
basically-
plan to expand into the other space
No,
at any
not at
time?
all. Nope,
And what is your landlord doing about the illicit dispensary that he's allowing, or they are allowing to operate?
I really have limited conversation with him about that, I was just focused on this space because it was becoming available.
On Zola, it says it's a mixed residential and commercial. But you said there are no tenants above you, right?
I know, there are none.
But the 37 is a residential building, I walked by it yesterday. It's the door between the illicit dispensary and, the green room.
Okay,
And it looks like your building is part of 37, but now we're seeing that it is, it's same block and lot. I'm looking at on the Department of Buildings right now. Yeah, we're gonna need a lot of clarification on
Okay.
that. If you want to do that now, there's still an opportunity since we don't have quorum. Technically, we can vote on this. So I don't know if you want to get your landlord here to explain, or,
I need to have him come,
well, somebody needs to explain
okay,
how this is gonna work
got it.
with all that's going on and that it looks like you're occupying a space that's attached to illicit dispensaries right now. So we need to figure out, you know,
What that's about,
what
okay,
that,
I
and
just.
you should wanna know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
okay,
mean, if that landlord's gonna let you open in the green room and there's that gigantic illicit dispensary with that prime corner, that's no good for you. So you should,
I'm not looking to have, well, I'm really looking to go in a very different direction than who's, showing up there.
yeah,
Big on delivering and not, that's not my intention, but I definitely need to have that clarified, so. Thank you.
And that's just to follow up what I was saying. It's not clear to me, it's possible that that's an extension of the building, it only lists one building, if you look at the picture, it looks like it's two different buildings. But the issue is, if it is in fact the corner building, then it's the same building as the illicit dispensary, and that was my issue, is
but
that.
they're both the same building is the thing.
No, that's what I'm saying,
Right.
if they are in fact the same building. That doesn't seem, from a perspective of. The application, there's already illicit activity within the building. With the non-compliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have some options before the end of this meeting.
Okay, so I have to withdraw.
You don't have to do anything.
Okay,
You have the opportunity to withdraw. You have the opportunity to sort whatever you need to sort and maybe address us again
Okay.
within this meeting.
can I exit and make
Sure thing.
calls? Thank you.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
any other questions for me at this time?
Not at this time.
Okay,
And you have a signed lease?
yes,
Yeah,
It's in there.
well, thank you
everything's
so
in there.
much.
If you go to the bottom, you'll see all the documents are attached. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rachel. All right, welcome, Dr. Wu in the house. Sure, committee member.
much fun.
Anthony, and I'm
Oh,
Patricia
Anthony.
Larry.
And that's Patricia, sorry. Patricia Laria Anthony Wong, Cheryl Wu, and I'm Mark Fitzgerald. Okay. I did, I was going over here. All right, so our next application is Jason Wu, 200 Bowery.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hey, how are you?
Jason?
Hi, Jason.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you. Jason, I'm gonna actually just go over your details. You are the 100% owner.
Correct.
Your projected opening date is February 2024.
So I don't know when,
Of course,
yeah,
projected.
correct.
Minority owned business, you were not involved in the CAURD program. Let's see, you provided a lease. But was it good? Sorry, give me 1 second.
You said the lease wasn't good?
No, I have to go, sorry, I have to go back and look at my other notes. What, you can tell me what kind of lease it was.
So right now it's a sublease contract.
It was a sublease.
Correct.
That's what it was. Now I remember. Okay, I have questions about that.
Okay,
So a sublease was provided.
right.
The location is 200 Bowery. What are the cross streets there?
If I'm correct, is Broom and Spring?
Room and Spring, and you have no connection to Community Board 2 whatsoever? Okay. Your proximity check showed no houses of worship or retail dispensaries nearby. There's a harm reduction facility at just 1,000 feet. DeSalvio Playground, of course. There are D. Roosevelt Park, Elizabeth Street Garden, and Houston Street Playground nearby, but state compliant, as far as I can tell. All right, your hours are
10 to 10?
10 to 10, which is pretty standard. No closing for private events ever,
No.
not even a lunch?
No.
Grand opening?
No,
Oh, are you open already?
I'm not.
Okay. When did you take possession of the space?
So I don't have possession of the space at the moment. It's a sublease that if I'm just using the space to qualify, and if it is, then I would be able to get myself in. If that makes sense.
What, so you don't necessarily have any intention?
My name
of-
is not on the lease. That helps.
So the name on the lease is the person that's currently operating a business in that location?
Correct. I think they're doing coffee and gelato at the moment.
That's not all. They are a dispensary. They are an illicit dispensary selling infused candy and gelato and ice cream. I don't know if those are infused.
No, I don't. Okay.
Yeah, we have a ton of evidence to that fact.
Okay.
So what is your association with that individual?
So I know the realtor, he's the one who rented out the space of them. And I wanted to apply to get the license, and I thought that was a perfect space. And the realtor set this meeting up for me, and I received.
Where do you hope to operate?
Where I want to operate? So I was born in Lower East Side, and I'm very familiar with that community in that area. And Chinatown nearby, so that's another area that I'm familiar with, and so it should be around home.
Around there? Yeah, we have a lot of applications around there.
That's what I heard. I know it's difficult, but you know, it's worth giving it a try.
All right, well. I'll let you guys ask questions in a second, but since you've been clear that you have no intention of actually operating there and you're applying for provisional, OCM guidance tells us that you're supposed to come back when you have a space.
Okay, so are you saying the space have to be under, the lease have to be under my name?
I mean, we would want to see that lease. Certainly, we would want to see that lease. It will definitely influence our decision, but since you yourself have said, I don't really plan to operate here and the space is currently operating as an illicit dispensary. Quite blatantly, I might add,
So the reason why,
you might want to distance yourself from that. is
no, well,
a
my
suggestion.
name is not on the list, but according to a realtor, he could basically hand me the contract and I'll take over the shop. And I'm just going for the license at the moment. Yeah.
But you don't need a location to apply for a provisional license.
Oh, you don't?
No, you get 12 months to find a location.
Okay, I didn't know that, because on the application, it says, you need landlord approval, you need the space, you need.
They want to see it. They do. I don't know.
So I
I
wasn't
didn't
sure.
update the
I wasn't
application.
sure.
They should have because provisional is by definition without location. So, I mean, you have the option to put a placeholder in, I guess. Or a lot of the provisional people are coming with location. It really depends on your individual circumstances, but we'd happy to have you back if you wanted to operate here in CB2. You have the option also, everybody has the option to withdraw. Or just rock with whatever resolution and recommendation we're gonna send to the OCM.
Okay, but, so what do you suggest?
I don't suggest anything, I can't advise you,
Okay,
we can only advise the OCM. You've applied for a space that is literally a cannabis, possibly psychedelics candy store.
okay,
If I were a kid, I'd walk by and be like, I wanna hang out there, so I don't know what you want to do with that.
okay, I get what you're saying.
I don't know if it's the best look. Does the committee have any questions?
Well, since is it a signed lease?
Let's look at the lease right now.
Says a sublease.
It is a sublease, that's what I put in the public one, because I didn't post the actual, one, but we can look at the lease right now. Premises control, it's line 16. It says fully executed commercial lease, but your name's not on it,
No, it's not.
but the
On actually.
name of the person operating the illicit dispensary right now is on it.
Yes, well,
Yeah, SJ mindset. So I did like a tiny dive into this.
no, actually mine says my O's,
Oh, that's you.
correct,
And EANY 22.
that's their O's.
Okay. There are a lot of businesses registered at this address, like a bunch,
On 200 Bowery,
to the point where it was weird.
so I'm not familiar with that,
Yeah.
so I can't answer that.
And the one that's in there incorporated in March, I believe, of this year. And that was only one of them. There were a bunch from this year. And then you were in, what, November or September,
When did I apply?
when you incorporated your business, which is also registered there.
Oh, correct, so that was last month.
So it's just, yeah, it was November. Any more questions from the committee?
Well, you hear the line of questionings we're asking, so you make sure you, wherever you end up, that you do community outreach. If it's a residential building, that you talk to the residents and tell them what you're gonna open.
Okay.
What else? But I mean, you have to make a decision, I just have to make a decision.
I mean,
So, just correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying that I could apply without a space?
I mean, I believe I would check with the OCM, I believe the application does ask for an address,
Yes.
but being that you get A, like a 30-day cure period, B, 12 months to find a space and a final space under provisional. I mean, this is what you have.
So reach out to OCM.
I have no idea.
Okay,
maybe get a
I just wanna
lawyer,
know what's the next, step.
find a lawyer to advise you on
I
that.
just wanna know what's the next step.
I think we have a few here.
No, I have,
All right. So figure that out.
okay,
But we haven't voted yet, and I can't speak for the community, but just simply on the manner under which the location is being operated and the lease that's submitted that is associated with that operator, I know that I could not in good conscience recommend approval of this.
okay.
That's my honest truth.
Okay.
You can think about it for a few minutes.
No, well, I was gonna say, what they're doing has nothing to do with me. I understand that I'm applying with their space. Like I said, it's more of the location thing versus.
Yeah,
But I get what you're saying.
yeah. We have no way
And I understand,
of, proving that,
yeah, okay, yeah, that's fair,
since the name on the lease.
Yep.
The materials provided. Board questions?
I just had a follow-up question. I'm still confused on this lease, because what's the trigger for the lease? To take effect if there's already a tenant and if you are actually subleasing from the current tenant? Because I think that's what you're driving at, is the issue is that you're.
Subtenant of the premises. The term commences November 1st. And ends July 31st, 2027. Oh, that's the other thing, like it says nothing about cannabis on this lease. It literally, the use that is approved on this lease literally says exotic candy store.
Are you talking about the actual lease or the sublease? That's what I'm confused about right now.
The actual lease.
The lease that I submitted or their lease? Because wherever their lease is, I don't know what's on that lease. I never seen their lease before.
And just click on it, 16.
I don't remember access to the.
You did it.
To the Google Drive?
No, line 16,
I asked the
Is
sublease
the link.
again.
Right, so when I click on that.
and then with that, oh, shot spot, all right.
No, it says you have it. Do you wanna hand it?
Yeah,
I have
hand it to us. Can you open it? I added you on to something.
So the reason I ask is just that the owner of that property appears to be a condominium, which is 200 Bowery Court condominium, and it may be that the commercial space is owned by not the condominium, maybe somebody else, or whatever it is, but just goes back to who's the lease actually with, is it, as you pointed out, is that allowance allowed, and then when would it take effect? Because there's an illicit shop there, so when could that use end?
Yeah, and the sublease
There's a
says,
lot of open questions that,
I mean, too many, I think.
Yeah.
and then that goes to the point of, history of activity in there, and as a landlord, know the history of illegal activity, have they been cited by?
The date on the sublease is November 1st. So.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the public? No? You want to take a minute to think?
Yeah. Thank you.
And there's a subsequent issue here as well, which is OCM requiring that the principles of the license remain the same from when they appear here to when they go change. And as you know, that's a but that comes into play of people actually applying. Right. Because if there's not a legal business there now, if that name can be switched out at any time, which we heard from the person who presented before, oh, you can just switch things. it makes it very difficult to address that aspect
Right,
of this.
Can I just reach out to the OCM and go from there, or do I have to make a decision right now?
you have no obligation to appear before a community board. We're still gonna comment on your application,
Okay.
either way.
Alright.
Yeah. The next application is Faris Alzandani for Lusty flower.
More.
Oh,
Whenever you're ready to hear, we're down
okay.
back for the number.
Oh, okay. Mr. Alzandani, will you just take a seat for a moment? Come on back.
Sorry, I just.
You're gonna.
You're gonna withdraw? All right,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
No, thank you, I appreciate it.
All right,
Just let the office know that you're withdrawing.
yeah, you just have to send us an email,
Okay,
okay?
alright, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Sorry, and then after I withdraw, how do I proceed there, or?
You have to give notice again wherever you're gonna operate.
Or,
So you can just rock with whatever decision we make, and your notice date will stand with the OCM if that's your concern. Or you can just reapply once you have a location.
okay, thank you. Okay,
Thanks so much. Thank you.
There are two structures connected. But it is my understanding that should we get in there, that potentially the landlord will be, his hope would be to get rid of the folks who are there.
And have you
257.
expand into that space?
Yeah, I mean.
That was not the original plan?
Well, it was kind of something that would be nice. I was hoping to start on the smaller side on Cornelia, but if it's an incentive, and an opportunity to get rid of them, I think it could be a great opportunity to have a legal establishment there.
Yeah, I was wondering where you were gonna put, what was it, 10 to 15, 10 to 20 staff members in that tiny space?
Yeah, well.
That's full-time
Rotating?
employees, not necessarily
that's
10 to 12 at
so,
one time.
Yeah,
And if I may, counsel also, and part of the lease process, this conversation came up weeks ago about, obviously, it wouldn't be in anyone's best interest to open a legal dispensary, like literally on top of a smoke shop. So the landlord, understandably, I think, wants to wait, and maybe that's a landlord's discretion to do whatever they want and take that risk of enforcement until then, but to begin eviction proceeding once the license is granted, but we don't know exactly when that is, and the landlord knows when that is. Obviously, it's in your best interest, it's in our best interest, it's in the community's best interest to have that store shut down immediately. That's why we're all here, right? The point of opening legal stores is to get rid of the storage of the smoke shops. I think everybody.
That's one point.
That.
That's one
it's one of
reason.
many, many reasons.
There are many reasons.
It's a reason that didn't exist when the MRTA was passed, but it is now. But I think it's in everybody's best interest to get rid of that shop, and I think everybody in this room is aligned there. So if the goal here is to get rid of these shops and welcome legal regulated cannabis in our neighborhood, in this neighborhood, we got to get rid of them. So we would really appreciate your partnership and help. It's certainly not going to go away if you guys deny her license. You're just going to have garbage weed that is untested and untaxed in this neighborhood forever. And certainly in that location. So if you want to start with Rachel, we'll get rid of that client. They'll put them out of business.
Is that a guarantee?
No one's going to guarantee anything. This is
I
cannabis.
mean, I'm hearing a lot of possibly and maybe, and once,
That's
she's
a threat
licensed.
to the board. I mean, the landlord should be taking the steps.
Yeah, the landlord
I'm
has
sorry,
to,
that's ridiculous.
you've just shared with us that they are knowingly renting to an illicit dispensary. That is a problem for our city government. Landlords are now being held accountable.
As they should be. As they should be.
There are fines.
And I'm sure you've probably seen it before. Some of the landlords
Mhm.
want to replace them with legal dispensaries, which is the only way we're gonna get rid of them.
They
Because
can't
law
wait.
enforcement is absent.
They can't wait till they can't
not, and I,
The
I
landlord,
don't disagree with you whatsoever, but that is not a
yeah,
decision that anyone in this room can make.
but it's a decision that, you know, people that want to actually move in and bring legal cannabis into these previously illicit locations, they do suffer from that because they're also carrying the stigma and not stigma, there's no way for them to prove they're not associated A. There's no way for them to prove the landlords aren't associated B. And there's just, it doesn't make sense. They need to be out. There needs to be a clear picture of that's not us. And then, for me, anyway. Are there any more questions on this one?
That raises a couple more issues.
Yeah,
It's a corner location now,
yeah. Oh, and it is
becomes
right
the church.
across from a school.
and the church, I don't
Once
think there's been a
Bleecker Street
determination made
is
on the
in
church
play,
by the other
the
authorities.
church is for
regulating it.
36, I think. But the school,
Which one?
Great Oaks,
Charter.
Great Oaks.
Great Oaks.
the charter, Great Oaks, did you tell them that you would
I
have an
just-
entrance on Bleecker Street?
No, I was specifically looking at Cornelia, which is actually what I'm looking at, you know, that's what my lease is for, that's where my intention was.
But your premises does have a legal entrance on Bleecker Street.
Doesn't
Which-
matter if there's an entrance or not, if it occupies the corner footprint, it's considered on both.
Oh, that's right, the corner, there is a corner provision in the regs. That is absolutely true.
I didn't even know there was a space down there, I just heard that there was,
The entrance.
someone was getting out of there, and I came down, I was like, oh my god, there's
When
this
we went in,
spot.
we were like, "Oh, same space. That's
The
what-
entrance to the Great Oaks Charter School is on Carmine.
Yes,
It's
that's
not on
correct.
Carmine. They enter
Actually, I
in
entered on
Bleecker
Bleecker, I
Street.
entered on Bleecker.
I entered
Yeah.
on Bleecker when I.
It's the
Yes.
entrance on Bleecker
The
Street.
primary, whatever the primary entrance.
But it doesn't matter because the corner provision in the regs.
If it's an ingress regularly used by the students, it counts as an entrance.
The building is not used primarily as a school, so it's still compliant with the regulations.
I would disagree. I don't think that the OCM was thinking about Catholic schools when they made their, you know, school church rules, just because the other use is a school, which is another proximity restricted entity. I don't think that the school is gonna knock out the church and the church is gonna knock out the school just because they're co-located.
So the school, we're talking about the Great Oaks Charter School, the church that's located in that is more than 200 feet, so it's a non-issue.
The church
the
is more than
House of
200
Worship,
feet.
correct,
Mhm.
500 feet though,
Correct.
and we haven't established that it's 500 feet anyway, right, that's. You can look, we can all look at Google, at the end of the day, it's the OCM who makes this decision, nobody.
Yes.
And two, the regulations state that if it's a school, it has to be used as a school and only a school or primarily as a school, and that is not the case here. There are already exceptions in Manhattan, not just New York State, of dispensaries that are within 500 feet of a school, and they've been permitted, some of the card licensees. This has come up before. So, you know, we looked at this issue, it's not like we're not aware of it, it was something that was considered prior to signing the lease. So, there's that.
But those are determinations for OCM to make, and you can apply for declaratory ruling, right? But I think that location, the neighborhood church, even despite what they might say, has been limited liquor licenses in the area because it's exclusive use of the church. So I think you have a lot of open questions here.
He actually said that, he just the other day had someone come over for a liquor license and people come all the time. Are you talking about the?
No, I understand, but there's standing decisions on the other side of that. Just what he says, if you look, while this is not liquor license, just because they say that doesn't mean it. It has to be a declaratory ruling, right, on that. To be safe, and I will tell you people, there's an opposite ruling, I believe, for that church that says it's exclusively a church. And it may not be before OCM, but I think that determination is something that people could also raise. Because it's a finding for another regulatory authority in New York State.
Are you talking about the one on Carmine and Bleecker?
No, No,
The one
that's,
on-
that would be
Yeah.
Catholic church that further down.
Yeah, the building has to be used primarily for worship. Yeah, I don't know what, and if there was a recent decision, it's possible that the tenant has changed their business practices and is no longer worship, holding worship services at that
He said
location.
they're
I don't know, but they said they're not, so.
But just to be fair, I don't think OCM has made any declaratory rulings, right? Exactly, that's my point, and that's the risk.
What if Rachel just took her existing lease and just never occupied the corner and that became a bakery or,
Yeah, I mean, that, exactly, like, we are speaking in, these are a little bit generalities, and we're making a lot of assumptions about the second lease at 257. Right, of course, she would like to take that over, that was part of the conversation, but you raised a good point. It's not a guarantee, there is no lease for that space. So any conversation around whether she's currently occupying an entrance on Bleecker Street is irrelevant to this conversation. That's not the application in front of the board right now.
But it's the same premises. It
It's
is
two separate
actually
buildings and two separate tax.
not
lists.
according to the Department of Buildings, not according to the city of New York. So,
You're saying it's the same building for purposes of,
yeah, it has two entrances.
with two separate, but we just spent the last 10 minutes talking about there are two tenants there, and one of them is one that everyone would like to get rid of. Right?
Yes, but we
So-
have no guarantee that the landlord obviously is like, oh, I'll wait until I have, a bird in this hand before I get rid of this one, but he's knowingly allowing an illicit dispensary to operate. That's a hot block. He could put anything in there. There's no shortage of tenants that want to take that corner of property on Cornelia and Bleecker. This is a choice
It is.
that he's made.
I'm sure everybody would like to see it shut down, but I think the first step in getting rid of these illegal stores is this process. Right, and if this process results in a denial of Rachel's application, all I'm saying is what we can reasonably expect is the perpetuation of the problem that we're all trying to solve. So we're just asking for your partnership and your help in trying to put legal dispensaries in replacement of the ones that we all want to get rid of that are breaking the law every day. I can't go in there and padlock that place. If I could, I would. It's not my issue. I'm not the landlord. Neither is Rachel. But I think we all agree that it's not helpful to have these shops in the neighborhood. What can we all do together in partnership with one another? You tell us, what can we do? Because if we get denied at this location, I guarantee you they're going to keep selling illegal weed out of there indefinitely. Because we, everyone in this room, in this community, cannot rely on either law enforcement or our government at all to do anything about it.
And yes. And that place right now looks like it's just gonna keep operating even if you do move in, because why would the landlord get rid of it?
I think that's a deal. That is a matter that Rachel has to take up directly with the landlord because there's
Right, so we have
very
no
obvious
way.
business reasons for them not to be open at the same time and
Wait, I don't understand. It's 150 feet away from the school, so.
it's not, it's.
For me?
It's from a church.
The lawyer thinks that it's arguable, but.
Which one?
The Great Oaks Charter School, I don't understand why we're arguing.
He's saying it's not exclusive use because they're selling perks.
Yeah.
The church is roughly 500 and something feet or 400 something feet.
I got like 463, but regardless, churches are, houses work for 200 feet. Thank you, Florence. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. David is not here yet, so I signed in for him and I added his mom and, oh, you need the signing sheet by CB2 report.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
I will say, I did mention to,
I'm gonna give him home to comment.
when I explained to the principal's, parent coordinator at the school, about potentially coming in there, she was like, oh, wait, the big corner? And I said, oh, no. She's like, be great if you were, she was happy to hear that.
It would be great,
Yeah.
but we don't know that that's gonna happen is the issue here. And we also need clarification from OCM on this exclusive use provision for Catholic schools. They really need to deal with this.
Yes, it seems to me, and I only heard what I heard tonight, that there's two separate issues. The landlord issue has to be sold by the VA, that's who you have to work in partnership with, not the community board. Our beloved mayor and his police department, they have to evict
Right.
this illegal.
But the landlords also have to evict, so we have 5 agencies that have enforcement powers on illicit cannabis and tobacco while we're at it. But now we also have landlord letters, and the second one of those goes out, landlord has a responsibility to fix it by beginning eviction proceedings.
I mean, I would say the landlord can show up and say, hey, I'm
I'm
get
doing
rid of
this today.
stuff if-
Like, where's that letter? He gave you the letter, but where's the letter that says, and I'm getting rid of
Yeah.
the bad stuff that's going
I
on
mean, it's okay
right
for me
now?
to say that, but there's no, we're not hearing from the landlord ultimately, right? Like, if you could get the landlord to come in and say, you know, you guys give the license under the list of shop, great?
And
I
this
mean,
is
and
an
then
issue I've
there's
actually
this
seen
issue.
come up in boards across, this is not
Makes sense.
unique to you. This is
Yeah.
going on all over the city because these landlords are like, oh yeah, I'll get into legal and that'll be better, and they think it's gonna be more money and da-da-da-da, but they won't get rid of the illicit ones. And they don't have an answer when it's like, you've been letting an illicit dispensary operate for 5 years. There's no answer. So certainly, we want them gone. Should people who are knowingly breaking the law be rewarded for that? I don't know. Are there any more questions on this?
Just as a point of reference, the school, the church are all under one building within New York City.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, and it's an archdiocese property. That should be noted in the resolution.
Oh, the whole building.
The whole building.
And
It
the way
may
that
be-
it has worked for the agency that does do declaratory rulings is that there has to be, you know, the exact language isn't there, but something that would undermine both those uses. And these are both consistent with religious purposes in schools, et cetera. They don't cancel each other out.
Yeah, do we know if the designation of the building is a religious institution?
That is a good question.
I'm gonna look. All right,
So what is the outcome of this?
we have to vote at the end of the meeting. I mean, actually, you guys, do you mind if we vote immediately following applications, or do you wanna wrap it at the end?
I mean, I guess if everybody has made up their mind, because sometimes we kind of deliberate at the end. and
We
have
do
a full
sometimes deliberate at
discussion.
the end, but there's nothing stopping us from voting in committee.
Okay,
Or let's take a preliminary vote, we can do that, I've seen that happen.
yeah, so if we all.
And
sort of
we
have our
can change at the
minds
end if we want, but let's take a temp. So is there a motion to deny?
I wasn't here.
Nobody wants to make a decision now, forget that idea, we're gonna vote at the end,
Yeah.
all right?
And the answer to your question is, it's a public facility and institution, the building class is a church, synagogue, et cetera.
So that's the whole building.
Yeah, so but it's more than 200 feet for religious purposes, so that building with a Great Oaks Charter School that is not relevant. What's relevant is whether it's within 500 feet and used as an educational institution primarily, right? I don't know what the exact wording is in the MRTA or.
I mean, there's a preschool and a middle school in the church, so it doesn't really matter whether it's used primarily. The schools are operational within this building. It's not like, you know, Monday and Wednesdays for 2 hours a day. I mean, there are two.
It's how much of the building itself is physically used for educational purposes. I didn't make the rules, trust me. I don't know. It's
No,
like
but there's
super-
schools that are
not helping you guys
co-located.
at all. I get that.
Right, but there are schools co-located within the building with the residential, like you still.
That doesn't, they can override that apparently. OCM has overridden that already in Manhattan, in downtown.
All right, so the address to the school is 240 Bleecker Street. And the address to your premises, the other address, which is the same building, is 257, is that right?
It's 37 Cornelia, 2 different buildings, but they're attached.
Give me 1 second. And so that's 167 feet according to Google, which is under 200 feet. This is up to the OCM. But, you know, again, time, place, manner, time, the hours requested are not consistent with the one other business on the block. Place, is this a suitable location? You know, we'll make our recommendations based on the church and the school, I believe. And manor, well, we know the manor right now is an illegal dispensary. So these are the things that we will weigh in our decision.
Okay.
But I do, you know, I think I speak for the committee. Thank you so much for coming in,
Thanks for your time.
and we do wish you the best of luck. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for Mr. Alzandani. Bye, John.
Did you reduce the hours for the money? At least on that, or minus.
11, I mean, 11's good. We can change it in the resolution.
Okay.
I don't know if it's gonna make a difference on anything else.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your patience. Sorry, give me 1 second. All right. Barris,
Yes.
Alzandani.
Yes.
Wonderful. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And you are applying for Lusty Flower, 647 Broadway. All right. You are the 100% owner of this business. It is a minority-owned business. Minority-owned businesses, woman-owned businesses are self-declared because many cannabis business, but in New York State, you have to be in operation for at least a year in order to get that designation. And that is why you can self-declare on cannabis applications. Just FYI, I'm not doubting. Own it. Let's see, landlord, premises control. You have a, what?
LOI.
An LOI only.
I have good relationship with the landlord, so I can get a lease anytime.
Okay. You're between Bleecker and Broadway. No, Bleecker and what are your cross streets? You're on Broadway between Bleecker and
Right,
no.
Broadway.
Bond Street. Thank you. And you are, sir?
Oh, I'm here for another application,
Oh, okay.
but I'm a community member, I'm, the Legal Neighborhood Association of Kliegmnan.
Welcome. Okay.
Thank you.
You have no interest in community board 2 whatsoever? No connection
No,
to this area? Said early on in your application that you were a CAURD applicant. Is that incorrect?
what's our applicant?
Conditional Adult Use Retail Dispensary Program?
Yes.
You did apply for that program?
I did only one thing, I'm not sure. It's right. It's the only thing I like.
Did you apply for a cannabis license with the state?
No,
Oh, okay, so that was just a mistake?
yeah, that was a mistake.
All right, okay. Did you check your proximity to Gotham
No.
at 3 3rd Street or Smash Village at, what is that, 144 Bleecker?
I did, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how close I am.
Yeah.
Really close.
Those both really need to be checked. All right, going back. Your interest. No smoking policy outside with a sign. ADA compliant. You don't have an idea about staff yet. How large is the space?
So it's large.
How large?
I got the floor plan if you want to see it.
Yeah. I do not have my glasses on. You will not post for events at all.
The hours.
So you plan to do consumption?
Yes.
I see.
I want it to be something new to the mayor. I want to make it some a new dispensary. With education. They go inside, they learn what they smoke and what they, everything that's gonna be. So I want every customer that comes in to have to be over 21 years old. And they learn about everything they're gonna smoke. I'm gonna have my papers, stuff like that, new suits.
You plan to make any changes to the facade or the building?
No, I can't make it.
No? Because it's a landmark building? Proposed hours are 8 AM to 12. PM? That's a mistake.
It's a mistake, it's 12, it's supposed to be 12 again.
12 AM. Okay.
Was that 7
That's Monday to Sunday, yeah. You're gonna do soundproofing. Are there co-tenants in the building? Is it residential?
It's like, now it's residential, maybe the 4th floor. The 2nd floor is like a studio.
Because you wrote not applicable, nobody lives there?
They do parties on the 2nd floor.
They do parties on the second floor, are you gonna take over that space?
I might, if I get the application, I can make it a launch.
What's the square footage? Can anybody say?
Application, so it's 700.
1,700, but it's much bigger than 1,700. Yeah,
The basement.
because the basement, what are you gonna use your basement for?
It depends. It could be a storage, I could put like a VIP section for special customers.
Okay. Do you own another business?
Yes,
What do you own?
I have a deli in Brooklyn, Queens.
Is that deli called, what is it called? Convenience on, what's the address of it?
It's supposed to be 1034 White Claw.
It's not convenient on Sunset,
No, that's not right.
no? Convenience on Sunset. At 4124 4th Avenue, that's not your business? You don't own that business at all? Do you know somebody named Rami Alzandani? Who is that?
That's my brother.
That's your brother. What's his connection to cannabis?
They got problems, but I have nothing to do with them.
Okay, so I shared with the committee some background on your brother. You have just the one convenience store, or do you have more than one?
The one I own 1034 White Claw. Then I have a percentage in it. And I have another store in Ridgewood, Merton and White Claw. It's 5428 Merton Avenue. It's a Coleman Inconvenience.
Okay. All right, and you have tobacco licenses, CBD, what do you have?
I sell coffee, food, it's a deli. Inconvenience.
And no tobacco
Not
of any kind?
of any kind.
Okay, so, I'm curious, after your brother's troubles, for those of you that don't know, when I Googled your name, it was the first,
He's my brother.
he's your brother, it's a unique name. There were pages and pages and pages, Mr. Alzandani's brother.
I have nothing to do with him, none of his businesses, none of his, since he started his business, I have nothing to do.
So I'll ask
But we're
again.
very connected, because, you know, in our culture, family is very connected.
I know, I see you all live
And I-
together for
I-
years, I did a deep dive. You
Yes,
share phone numbers and addresses going back, and I love that your family is so close knit, but being so close knit and in such close proximity to
give it a reaction.
to date, the most egregious operator of illicit dispensaries that this state has seen and caught anyway. You can understand the concern
Yes.
simply from the association.
Yes.
Are there any questions from the committee?
With such a space, you're gonna do soundproofing, you said, and will you have events?
Yes. I will have events.
How many events? How many events per month?
You said no events.
Not for a month, only on special occasions,
Say that again?
special occasions. Like maybe on 420. Maybe Halloween.
And you'll have delivery?
Not at the moment.
Did you look to see what? Yeah, you didn't, there were a lot of documents that just didn't come in. You submitted your LOI in almost every opportunity to upload requested documents, and all we have is an LOI, so we don't even.
You have the LLC, Lusty LLC.
Mm-hmm,
You have
that. Oh, I see it, yeah, I have it, your EIN letter, right?
And the limited liability company agreement,
Okay, yeah, I only have the.
and I have a logo too, if you wanna see it.
And you did no outreach to the community, no outreach to the community. What is the space currently?
I think it's convenience store right now. The landlord doesn't want them there, anyone wants them to leave.
647
And I have a good relationship with them.
That's an illegal pot shop operating as Lusty Flower
Yeah,
Inc.
So legal process.
647 Broadway, right? I mean, literally.
It says it's mixed residential.
But
There's-
I have a good relationship with the landlord and he doesn't want them there now.
But it's the same name?
Similar name. But
Well,
it's
no,
not-
your application literally says Lusty Flowers LLC with the operation currently,
That's my application.
right? So is this your company?
No, that's not like.
This is not yours. So it's the same name and the same location.
I don't know why they have that application.
This is on Google and it's got 16 reviews. Google reviews.
I just like the name because it means strong. That's why I picked this name.
All right. Any more questions from the committee? Any questions from the public or the board members?
I was gonna say, the shop is operating as an illegal smoke shop as well as an illegal consumption lounge. It seems to match the application.
Exactly.
That's exactly, has the same name. The addresses, I'm sure, you know, will match back to the same other addresses for.
All right. Any questions from the public? Comments? Thank you, Mr. Alzandani. Okay. And the next application is City Dispensary, Inc. What is the address for that one? 264 Elizabeth Street.
I'm pretty sure that's what you mean. Yeah, which is the lead.
Hi, would you both state your names for the record?
Yeah, my name is Suli.
Please.
Yeah, my name is Chang Wen. Yeah.
Welcome, and what are your roles in this application?
Oh, this is my mother.
Oh,
Yeah.
My language, my family.
wonderful. So, as we said, 264 Elizabeth Street, City Dispensary, adult use retail dispensary, 100% owned by you, Julie. And you project to open January 2024. Minority and woman-owned business, MWBE. Okay. Landlord, premises control. You provided us a, you know, I'm gonna tell you right now. An option. Like term sheet, right? It's not a fully executed lease. Okay. Let's see, sidewalk management. To reduce impact, surrounding committee. Minimize. Sidewalk traffic, vehicular traffic. Efficient customer entry policy, that all looks great. Proximity check, you are very close to many public gardens. But state compliant. No smoking signs you're gonna put up. Very small staff. Who's gonna be working in the store?
What did you say? I don't understand what it is.
Who will be the employees every day in the store?
谁会在那边工作？你会讲中文吗？
我讲国语。
好啊，讲国语帮忙翻译，
哦，谢谢。
或者是儿子可以。
谢谢。
Whoever wants to translate.
可以。
谁会在那边工作？
我会请人，请2个 security， 请个 cashier， 请个 manager， 请个 bartender。
So cashier manager to security guards， 还有呢？还有谁？
哦，有 bartender，one bartender，one manager，one security，two security，one cashier。
Wonderful. Thank you, and thank you, Cheryl. And this is why I've spent the last 2 weeks asking for translation services for our board.
This is why
So I apologize. Let's see, ADA compliant. Yes. No event.
那边有没有会不会有什么 private party 啊那些的？
And no on-site consumption.
会不会有什么活动啊或什么样的？就是好像说你会把那个店门关上，然后里面有个一单，就是说有一种活动这样子，会有吗？他们就是这个意思。
没有关门，然后做特别多活动。
这样。
我还在想。
还没想过去 such as considered it. What was the other question again?
Consumption and delivery are the next question.
还有他们会让人在那边，就是说吸啊、烟啊，或者是
不可能，
或者是吃。
我有经验，我开好几个窗户，所以我说这个在外面这个 noise 或者这个抽烟啊或者什么这样，我不担心的。
没有，他意思说是会在店里面会有人抽。
不可能。
Okay, she said no, and she said she has experience. 是什么样的经验？
我开窗户才好几个这样。
开过什么呀
开过窗框，开过好几个，我有对客人的这个经验很丰富。
？Oh, okay, so she said she's had like, she's run businesses like a restaurant, so she's had customer service experience, and she said she won't allow any on-site consumption. And then 还有会有人会送你那些cannabis 吗？会被
我听不大清楚你说什么。
会不会有人就是说帮你骑脚踏车送东西啊？因为那个是等，就是说delivery 就是
送外卖。
哦，
外卖的，
是外卖，yeah yeah，我也是外卖。
She said yes for delivery.
Yeah, for
That's for
delivery.
delivery.
So I have a question, if you would please.
Sure.
So you have direct access to the backyard of this space, and you plan to use it for a employee break area. Have you spoken to the neighbors? Does it border other residences?
意思说你那个有个后院嘛，对不对？
我没有后院，
你没有后院，
只有前面。
The backyard is all block in. Has all the fences all block in.
Are there residences around though? Like, is it like a garden, like the middle of a block?
旁边有没有公寓啊？他有后院吗？还是没后院？She said she doesn't have a backyard. Does she have a backyard?
Well, she has like a little patio on the back.
Right, so
But-
that's what we're
yeah.
referring to. So 你的后面那个后面小小一个院子，旁边是不是有公寓有人住？意思是为什么呢？因为如果你因为好像是说你要让你的公园到后面去，比如说吃饭啊，或者是有休息啊，可是你要问旁边有没有住的那些人公寓啊，因为这样不然会打扰到他们。
对，
那有没有问啊？有
但是我基本都有问过，
你有
那个邻居家呀，邻居class什么我都有问过。
你们邻居是谁啊？ She said she's asked her neighbors, so I said who are your
Yeah，
neighbors?
邻居也有时候close door，yeah，not together， yeah，class restaurant or yeah，last week I asked so many people.
You did. Your English is really good.
I
Yes,
don't understand.
No,
Sorry.
So you said, okay, so you said that there's a clothing store
Yeah.
and a restaurant?
Class street restaurant and next they close store. Yeah, I have asked so many people.
You asked them, okay. She said she did talk to them.
Okay, so there are 8 residential units in that building.
他说你的那栋楼里面有8个公寓，所以他意思是说，因为这不是只是你的邻居不是只是做生意的嘛，对不对？因为生意他们晚上就回家，然后你也不是每天在那边，对不对？可是问题是那边有人住在那边，比如说有孩子啊、年纪大的人啊，就这个意思。他有问你说有没有跟他们讲过，有没有问他们说我们的公园会在外面啊。休息啊，怎样，就这个意思，因为你就是不要打扰到人家，所以有问吗？
我有问过1、2个，但是有时候他孩子有时候我很想再问这个大人啊什么的，因为
I think on the application, my mom is confused as to if she should use the backyard for the employees. You know, but I think her intention is she misunderstood the question in the application.
I mean, it was just a question.
Yeah, where she, she doesn't need to use it for the employees, obviously.
I mean, I think it's great to have a break room for the employees. That's wonderful. Just make sure that there's no smoking, of course. And also the neighbors,
I just want to.
just so there's no noise for them.
Yeah.
You would want to reach out, I think. But I don't think there's a problem with having a, area for them to be comfortable.
你就直接跟他讲哈，我讲一个，你直接跟他讲。
你们想的，
我是讲福州话。
对，我知道，没关系，你可以直接跟他讲。
对，他就说，后门你可以让员工用，但是你要跟邻居要都讲好，就邻居没有会没有问题。
I understand this. I think this is long time.
Yeah.
What is the current use of the property? Of the premises?
现在那个是你那个地址现在是什么东西？是一个店吗？还是怎么样？
现在是空的。
是空的，It's an empty space.
Okay, yeah, I see they're using it as a COVID site for a while,
Okay.
but I guess not anymore. All right,
Is she gonna do any kind of education?
所以其他的那些店有时候会教导啊，就是说会辅导你们客人会做那些吗？我不知道你的那些客人会是东方人还是外国人，所以你是觉得会有点像教育的那些东西？
我觉得这对我说问题不大。我生活做这么几个，再加我年纪这么大，我也见识好过。
不是你会不会给你的客人教育？就是说你告诉他们
会，一定有。
一定会怎么样的呢？
是，就对什么有健康，对什么不健康这样，对什么有方法，什么是对的这样。
She said that she'll be counseling like her, her customers directly.
oh, okay.
She said, definitely, I'll be teaching my customers. That's what she said.
This is a very residential block. I mean, there are some businesses. I see there's a restaurant, there are a few restaurants. Your proposed hours are 11 to 11,
Yes.
Monday through Thursday.
Yes.
And then
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 11 to
Friday, Saturday, 11 to midnight,
Friday, yeah, and then Sunday you had 11 to 10.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Another
Sunday.
mistake, right? Is that 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. Sunday?
PM.
Yeah. So, oh, you spoke to the other people who live in the building and people walking by, and many were supportive. Did you give us any letters of support?
对方有没有签字？就是说他同意的时候有没有签字？
什么简单的？
哦，就no,
No.
they have to see this language issue, so still
Okay.
paper for the sign.
I can read Chinese. So you can say Chinese.
No involvement in cannabis previously?
那时候你
你之前有没有大麻行业？
我有中国大麻经验，我自己有Herbal。
She's got like a planting, like cultivating.
Oh, really?
experience.
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
Planting?
She's got planting experience, yeah.
Wonderful. Is that something you want to do here, planting? And if so, why not go for the micro business license, which allows you to cultivate, process, and retail?
那Mar 他的意思是说，如果你有种过大麻的经验，有另外一种license，你可以去申请，叫做 micro
Micro
business.
just the name,
Okay.
but it allows you to grow, process, and
So
sell.
就全部一整体的，也可以种，然后也可以。
对，
还有卖，所以叫做 micro business. You should look into that.
I just a thought.
Yeah.
So you gave us lots of pictures. Thank you. And information. We love that. Are there any questions from the committee?
I think I want to emphasize that my mom, I'll just say English first name, she probably understand me. Because my mom did sign a option to lease, so the landlord has to lease it to her within 30 days.
Conditional lease, yeah.
And she does have a lease prepared already, and she's gonna sign like tomorrow or so.
Okay.
Because it's, it's a longer time because they will translate what that lease means to her.
Alright. I like it. My biggest issue is it looks like you guys are within 1,000 feet of Gotham at 3 East 3rd Street. But I could be wrong. So that's something you have to take up with the OCM. Are there any other questions from the committee?
She said no events, right?
She said, no,
Okay.
yeah, she hasn't decided yet. She
Or has not decided.
Board member questions?
Just for the location, this is the MedRite urgent care space.
Yeah,
That previously, is that correct?
yes. Oh, yes, it is.
And that's definitely correct. Just because this is a building. All looks the same, but many storefronts.
This is not specific to this, even though it. I have a question about hours.
Mm-hmm.
I know what they said. My understanding is that up to 70 are completely allowed, 70 a week, is that correct?
Yeah. So what it is community boards. Our only actual power is to be able to limit these businesses to not less than 70 hours if we so choose.
Okay.
We have done that. We have done that in the past.
That's really what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, we can do that, but the OCM can also decide that, in the interest of public convenience, they're gonna ignore that. We said 70 hours, but it really is the only thing we really
But if
can
an
do.
applicant comes in and they're asking for 90 or whatever.
We had somebody come in asking for 156 hours and we cut them down to 70 for 6 months. So it happens. It has happened.
For the clarification.
What, do you know the hours of the other businesses on the block? And did the neighbors say anything about how late?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 days, 11 to 11. We are almost close on the business.
At the same time?
Yeah,
Close.
yeah, so saying that the restaurant across the street is almost exactly the same hours.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Any questions from the public?
Hi, my name is Safa from the Victor Neighborhood Association. I live in the building and I sent you a letter this afternoon. Okay.
Did you send a letter or did you fill out the form?
No, I sent a letter to 3 different addresses of the community board. One was Carter. And
Most of them are.
Yeah, I never got that. from
Okay.
anybody.
We never got, you have a copy?
No, it's just
Yeah.
because that way I wouldn't repeat what I.
Can you
said.
summarize it for us, Joe?
Yes,
Your
yes.
feelings on this application?
And you live in the building, you said?
I do, yes, because, and I say as much in that, letter. The building is, it's basically a poor man's form of landmarking. Is written in the special, zoning district, the territory special zoning district. There is one of 19, buildings of special cultural and historical interest. So, and it goes from 260 to 268. And it occupies the backyard that is shared by those buildings and the buildings on the Bowery and the buildings on Houston Street. And that backyard has been a huge problem in the past. I've been in the building since 1982. It's my 42nd year. And ever since it was a restaurant, and later on a very trendy shoe store that did events. They didn't close, I explained it in the letter in detail.
So they didn't close the back.
They didn't close the back, but they cannot because the building is maxed out. So it's up to a point, it's closed, and then it's a rollout roof. I guess it's a fig leaf to say we're in compliance with the zone.
But it's just a rollout roof, which is not sufficient to block out
The sound,
noise.
exactly. So if somebody, I make an example, is having a conversation on 260, at 268 in the garden or in the backyard, 268 hears it on the higher floors. So even if it's a staff member and a staff room, and they decide to turn on some music or have a loud conversation, it's not just a matter of sleeping at night. Many people have home offices and some people do intellectual work that need concentration. So noises during the day are not any more welcome than they would be at night for people who would like to sleep. As I said in the letter, I'm not opposed to this business in principle, if it operates, in the, manner that it says in the questionnaire, that is, no smoking on premises, no events, no music, especially live, but recorded as well. In other words, if he's gonna be a good neighbor, I would have no issue. Now, there are a few issues with, I'm learning on the job, and that's why I asked the question before. I've never dealt with cannabis licensing before. I do know about liquor licensing, and you've seen me many times in front of this board before. So I don't know if the same rules apply. There was no posting. There was no talking to the neighbors, and I would know because we all know each other very closely in the community. There are a lot of new tenants, and they tend to not be in touch with the old timers like me. But yeah, there was no notification, and I asked both the board and the applicant. I know that, for example, if a liquor license decides to change hours, mode of operation, anything, it has to go in front of the community board again. It has to be approved by the SLA. I don't know what the rules are here, but
It's not the same rules. It's not the same rules.
There you go.
There's no posting requirement. We, I believe, are going to start asking the applicants to do the posting themselves, like many other boards do.
And liquor licenses.
We've never done that. We don't require people to do it. Our office does it, but we're gonna actually start asking the applicants for cannabis to do their own postings. I would like to connect you to,
Yes,
in my mind, and I'm speaking personally, not for the board, you want a not disruptive business,
absolutely.
this is the one you want. I mean,
One thing that the board also should know is that there is an illegal store operating across the street from here. I believe it's 237 Elizabeth Street. And, you know, that's not good publicity for this kind of business because they've been open at all hours, day and night. Sometimes there is a police car station in front of it and, but yeah, so, you know, in spite of me, as I say in the
do you know
letter-
the landlord of that building?
Sorry?
Do you know the landlord of that building?
I know some of its representatives. It's a huge commercial building.
The-
Oh, you mean the one?
The illicit one,
Oh, the offensive one.
yes.
Okay, no, I don't know the landlord.
Well, there's nothing stopping from you and your neighbors to filing enforcement reports, illicit activity reports with the state and with your city council person.
Okay, well, who is Christopher
Because
Mark?
It's Chris, they're all over it,
Yes,
so
I'm sure you're aware that his brother is applying for a legal license.
his brother
Otherwise-
opened his
Oh, you
dispensary
did,
last
okay,
month.
great, so there we go. So I don't know how much Chris, whom I know personally, is gonna be forthcoming on this.
He will be
particular-
very forthcoming, he will do his
Absolutely.
job as a city council person.
Very good.
So I definitely advise you to avail yourself of your elected, particularly on that side of the district. They are very active. Get your assembly person, your senator, your city council person, and tell them, we have this happening on our block. Please help
Okay.
us.
You know, one thing that came to mind while I was doing the other issues is that obviously the landlord is profiting knowingly from renting to somebody who's not even supposed to be there and asking a higher rent than he would otherwise. So, you know, when I heard that for the other case on Bleecker Street, oh, this will make the other store go away, I don't think so.
It hasn't happened. That was the, you know,
Yeah. It's,
the party
I mean, it's
line
very
for a
creative
while.
to say that.
it hasn't worked.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank
And
you.
please,
You should.
get
Yes.
together, exchange information
Good, yeah.
yeah, tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what you want. You
Yes.
want the
Right.
people that are on the block, who've been on the block for a long time, to inform you
Yes.
how you can best operate your business for success, right?
Okay, great. If it's not gonna be a problem, we don't have an issue.
You don't have an email or a phone number, do you wanna put this down and
Oh,
give it
yes.
to her?
Yeah.
Wanna you do that? Yeah.
You can keep. Actually, you can keep, take a picture.
Yeah, go ahead and write, I would write. number and email. And then I'm gonna explain to her what he said. 你听得懂吗？他意思说那个后院，
我知道，
那个声音会这样往上放出来，所以会很大声。的意思是说，因为我们刚刚在说你公园在后面休息啊、吃饭，他就这个意思。不过如果你们两个就直接沟通，
是，我一定理解。
一定要
因为对我说做生意，你知道吗？这个邻居很重要。他邻居不高兴，我不喜欢开。
I mean,
所以我让他把他名字。
would you agree to not use the backyard or do you need to use it? How big is this space?
Oh, just 1,200.
No, the backyard, 后院。
No, the store is 1,200.
Inside,
Yeah, inside.
Oh, right, so they can.
one level, one floor?
Basement too.
Basement, same
In the
1,200.
backyard.
Oh, two, so
Yeah.
1,200 and 1,200.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice, that's nice.
It's nice, the basement can use, we don't like the.
The backyard is another 1,000.
Yeah.
So, but that's good. I mean, maybe she can use it for growing. That would be fantastic. Can you tell her that?
Or a single outside is.
Right, yes, yes. But you know, the growing process.
Are we confident we'll be able to work something out?
Yeah.
Yes, we like basement, you understand? We don't like the down.
No, but I'm saying that you can use the backyard for growing.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. All right.
Keep in touch.
Yeah, thank you.
I think let me explain to my mom.
Yeah.
他就说，刚才他就问说你后院水能不能不用？不用后院你能不能有水？
或者是小声。
可以呀，
或小声。
我 basement 很大。
会叫他们到后面的时候就要小声，小声
肯定的，
点的。
我知道对我说这个没问题。
Okay.
Yeah, she said it's fine, backyard, she doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying don't use it, just maybe not for congregating. Congregation.
Yeah.
Okay,
Any other?
are there any more comments from the public? Thank you both so much.
Do we stay or we can leave or?
You are welcome to stay. And until we vote, if you like.
Thank you.
You think you can, or but you don't have to. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is the Federer family in the house? Here you are. So we got these very late. So you have to give me a moment.
You got what very late?
The questionnaires came in today.
I gave the questionnaires.
Oh, wait, that wasn't you. That was the other guy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What's the agenda?
It was actually, you guys were the first one, but you were going to be late today.
I'm going to, but
That's right.
I'm getting the kids bed early and here I am.
All right. Okay, here we go. So you are
I'm a lawyer.
two applications. I'm a lawyer. Two applications for 433 Broadway in the name of your,
One is my wife and the other one is my mother,
okay. And,
whichever order is more important.
okay, do you want the bad news first? Did we talk?
Yes, about the.
Yeah, you're
the dad
within
thing? Yeah, we're okay.
500 feet of no accident reports at 481 Broadway.
Wait, say, you mentioned to me about a proposed Dabney site in 1,000 feet.
It's not a proposed Dabney site, it's a site, I told you that it has proximity protection prior to the injunction, we
Right.
continue through the injunction, and they're opening. Like, they're opening. I heard from the applicant twice, and I confirmed with OCM the proximity protection.
Okay.
You wanna go ahead,
Absolutely.
and you wanna go ahead with us.
I'd love to if you're willing to have it.
Okay, I wanna be upfront that we will take into consideration the fact that there is a space with confirmed proximity protection within 519 feet of your proposed.
And I guess whichever one comes first, according to the OCM, we'll get priority.
Are you doing provisional? Thank you so much for coming. Are you doing provisional or you're doing with location?
Yeah.
All right. So let's review. Full license, proof of control, Business names are Mocha Joint Corp. There are 2 applications again for the same location to accommodate. What am I calling it? I'm not calling it a lottery anymore. I'm calling it the OCM's randomized something or other. In my mind, I made that up. Because it is a lottery. Let's see. Sorry. Adult use retail dispensary. Oh, and consumption facility.
On one,
Okay.
on one of them, we put that in there as a possibility. We're not sure if we're actually gonna use it as a consumption facility. I don't think there's space. It's in the building, they have a roof deck and, they've got actually 2 roof decks that can be used for it. We're most likely not gonna be using consumption lounge, but it's good to have it as an option.
Okay. And this is a family business. You're all going to
Oh, yeah,
own it and work together.
correct.
But the corporate structure is that your wife is principal or
For my mom.
100% owner of each.
I mean, I'm not gonna be running this, I'm just the attorney on it, so I have clients that are in every area of the
Are you
business.
CPI?
No, that's what my wife said would be, yeah.
Well, yeah, you will be, actually.
That's right.
But she is the 100% owner and your mom is the 100% or owner of the other one. So be clear on that. And, oh yeah, it says that. Your projected opening, January, woman-owned business. You are a consultant
I am.
and a lawyer. And, let's see, landlord. You have a fully executed lease?
Good.
Pretty sure you did, from what I recall, I'm just opening it. It's the ground level premises, how many levels are you,
Just
will
ground
you
level.
occupy? It's just the ground level?
Yeah.
What's the square footage on that?
So we have, the landlord gave us options, the total square footage that we have available to us, I believe is 6,300 square feet, but I don't think we're using more than 1,300 square feet, to start with, if at all.
Where are you gonna do storage? How are you gonna store your product?
So that's what I'm saying, we're gonna start off, we have the ability to incrementally grow, so the goal is to really start, I mean, I've been doing this for about a decade, cannabis law. So I've seen how the industry evolves and I don't wanna be top line, I don't want the business to have too many expenses if necessary, it's a very expensive area. We're a startup company, we're not coming in with, big money, so yeah, we're gonna try to make a deal with the landlord where he allows us to grow slowly if we can.
Right, you're gonna put no smoking signs outside, no loitering. Peaceful, respectful atmosphere. You're gonna soundproof the property. You're gonna have security. Okay. You don't know about your staff yet because you don't know how much of the space you're gonna take.
I don't know if we're getting a license.
Events, thoughts?
We're fortunate that we have 2 things. We have within the building, again, we have outdoor space which could be used for it. If it makes sense. And then across the street, we have the House of Cannabis, which is directly across the street. So we don't necessarily feel like we need to do events there. We'd rather coordinate with them and collaborate with them, where necessary, but we like to have the ability to not be beholden to them. So the building, which is it's like a WeWork type of building, it's a shared office space building. They have these several areas where it should be used for consumption that don't necessarily require air filtration. And again, the goal is to be lean as possible to start off with, and that's it.
Let's see, because New York's on-site consumption regulations have not yet been finalized, we are only keeping on-site consumption as an option. However, we shall address the question in detail if and when it becomes prevalent. I'm hearing that's definitely an option for you.
Well, I mean, it's an option because.
What does consumption look like for you? What does on-site consumption in this space look like for you?
So it's actually 2 different concepts, at least I guess this conversation is related to really one concept of on-site consumption. On-site consumption, this conversation is related to a business where you're actually selling the product at that location to be sold, and consumed on-site. We spoke to the landlord and there are some areas on-site
which could theoretically be used like as a restaurant type of thing. So the goal would be like, if New York's regulations allow for like a restaurant type of experience with outdoor seating, which we thought would be really cool. We would like to do that there, but again, New York has not finalized what the regulations look like, so that's why we kept the answer as, we'll see what the regulations look like.
Tell me about the outdoor space.
It's enormous. One of the top floor is, it's basically goes around the entirety of the building, so.
Oh, it's a rooftop.
It's rooftop,
Yeah.
yeah, that's, so they have one full rooftop, and then they have a secondary space, which I don't know what the number of floors, I don't recall, but it's another like very sizable space for just seating.
Well, that would be a very fancy consumption site, wouldn't it?
I think it would be more than fancy, I think it would be compliant. And that's really what I'm looking for. That's what I do, run compliance. And the goal is if we can be in a place which is right in the middle of SOHO, and I don't believe the House of Cannabis is actually running a fully compliant consumption business. So from my perspective, you know, having a actually compliant business right next door could give them the
You are aware
option.
that they have on-site delivery kiosks. So
Yeah.
they also basically have a dispensary
So
on-site.
I'm just speaking in theory. I don't talk about anybody else's business. It's not my business. I've got a business. I'm just saying that in my mind, giving an option to the area, which could be a compliant space that could be a gem, and basically an ideal for the OCM to look at and say, hey, this is a compliant business, this is what it should look like. Again, primarily because the cost is not associated with the air filtration.
Wait a
It'd be
minute.
very cool.
So you're talking about the roof. Where in this building is your dispensary
Ground
going?
level. So the regulations allow for on-site consumption to business to be in immediately adjacent locations. That could be next door or it could be in the same building.
Or, yes,
So we have access to the roof if the landlord allows us.
interesting. It's an historic district building. You don't know your hours yet, why not? Do you have an idea?
I mean, so again, this is not what we're holding by, but I looked at the House of Cannabis, which is 11 to 8, as being, you know, a range of what we're gonna.
They're also not open every day of the week. Are you gonna close
I'm
several
definitely
days a week if we're
We're
going?
definitely not opening on Shabbat. So Friday
Okay.
sundown to Saturday sundown, we won't be open probably, most likely.
And you did no community engagement.
We applied last second, we didn't even know we didn't get the building. To ever even get this guy to give us a lease, so no, not yet. And hopefully if we get the license, every license that I've done previous to New York required community engagement. So I'm very familiar with the process. I'm very familiar with making sure that everyone knows what we're doing and we're engaging with the community and we're gonna be leading with education and again, compliance. That's the goal here.
How are you gonna hire local? How are you gonna get to those people? Do you have a connection to the community?
No, only to the landlord who is very friendly. So I have two connections. One is my brother-in-law's family. They have that's how I met the landlord. They have an office in that building for a number of years. So that's how I actually found the building and I started speaking to the landlord about what was going on prior to the licensing structure. So he actually told us about like, hey, why don't you put it here? And then this is before the House of Cannabis, actually. They were previously a client of mine. I helped them get their hemp cultivation license. I don't even know if they have this. They have a research hemp license in the building,
Yeah.
which is why they have those plants there. That's what makes it compliant. So, so my connection to the community there is through that business and the owner, their family, and I guess my brother-in-law's family who operates there. And yeah, I've been, you know, just working as a lawyer in Manhattan for over a decade, but not in this particular downtown Manhattan.
Okay.
Will there be delivery?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we applied for it, so yeah, hopefully we'll get together.
What about event?
Same concept as the on-site consumption. It's just that whether it's available for us based upon the landlord allowing us to have that, to utilize those outdoor spaces on the roof deck. Again, that's not the core of our business. Our core business would be operating a dispensary in an area where I believe would benefit from it and would, you know, it's a great spot. That's it.
Okay, we don't have a lease. We have,
No, that lease is a
It's-
preliminary lease.
yeah,
Yeah, of course.
okay. It's an agreement in good faith negotiation for.
No, there's a lease, there's an enforceable lease, there's terms in there that are the exact, you know, the exact amount of rent that we're paying, it's like, that's a lease. It certainly, it basically says that once we get to our licensing, we're gonna make it more robust, which will, 30, 40 page lease or who knows what.
Yeah. All right,
Do you know what the rooftop is being used currently?
It's not, it's just for,
Is it-
it's just people that are in the office that they have the space to just sit. It's not really used for anything.
So the building has, is offices in the building, not
Yeah.
residential?
No, it's just, it's like we work, the whole building. It's great.
So what about the people who normally will go up to the roof currently, so the landlord just.
They have a secondary roof.
There's another roof.
They have a roof and then they have an outdoor space on like 2 or 3 floors below, which is also available. So he felt that it would be, again, we're not planning on using the roof full time. That's not gonna be our thing. We're not running a consumption business. We're a dispensary. Having the ability to do that in occasions is really great, but I don't see that. I'm not an events guy. I'm a lawyer, so I'm not thinking in that direction. But I do like the fact that if we are successful, and if we get a crowd, and it calls for it, that we have this as an option, certainly in summertime, for outdoor consumption, things like that.
you also did not upload a site plan, renderings, pictures of what it looks like now, even a layout of the space as it stands, like we didn't get any of that.
I don't have it either.
Stuff you can just pull offline if it's a commercial space.
No, I'm aware, but again,
Yeah.
we don't know which of the spaces we're gonna use because we have the ability to use 6,300 square feet of it. And depending on what happens when we get our license, hopefully we're gonna get an investor to come in and depending on what their vision is or what their capacity and their appetite is for investment, we may make a larger space, make a smaller space. It's
What you submitted to us is one storefront on the ground level, less than 2,000 square feet.
right, because that's my.
But that's not it. It could be 6,000 square feet.
Yeah.
It could be with consumption, like it could be a whole
No,
different kind of
just to
ballgame.
reiterate, we have the ability to have up to 6,300 square feet on the ground level retail. That's the entirety of what they have is retail. There are currently people that are in tenants there, but their leases are expiring.
Mhm.
But the goal, like I said, is to start off as small as reasonable. So let's say 1,600 square feet, maybe something like that, which we've seen in the past as being a successful, or at least sufficient enough amount of square footage to run a compliant business.
Okay. Are there any questions from the committee? Board members present?
I had a question, are you responsible for changing the use on the ground floor or the landlord?
We need changing uses retail.
No, it's not. The legal use is a motorcycle shop.
The 6,300 square feet.
Yeah.
The entirety of it. So.
The motorcycle repair shops use 16B, which is compliant with the previous zoning.
I appreciate you telling me that. So, yeah, certainly it's gonna be on the landlord, but we have, what I've seen it, I've been there numerous times, there are retail stores operating there, so if they're not running compliantly. No, I appreciate you telling me.
That's the final C of O that's issued. This is a new building in April 16th of 2018. Because at that time, that was not a legal use on the ground floor, so that's a significant use group change.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'll confirm that, no, thank you.
10-year use, and then just secondarily, on top of that, the contiguous space, is it say somewhere that you could skip floors in a building?
Yes,
It's generally the
Yeah,
contiguous is that you have complete control over the access, right?
no, the word is not contiguous,
It's congruent.
it's adjacent,
And so.
the word is adjacent.
Are
So,
we sure?
so-
Should we pull up the
so-
regs right now?
You can,
I'm just curious, if you had introduced that as part of the plan. Do people go into the common elevators?
no, that's not part of the plan, it's an option that we have, and in order to do, the regulations that I believe you're referring to are related to a ground level dispensary, which requires a dedicated elevator to get to that floor. That's not what we have.
But that's what you said you may do.
No, that's for a dispensary. We're not gonna put a dispensary on the first one. We're not putting a dispensary on the second.
So that wouldn't be part of this license, then whatever you do.
No,
in a separate area.
no, if it is, we'll be compliant regardless of whatever we're doing. There's numerous elevators in the building, so if we need to have a dedicated elevator to be compliant, that's what we'll do.
Okay. So, and then just on top of that, the maximum occupancy on the top floor is 8 people.
On the roof deck?
Yeah.
Is that the top floor?
It's a penthouse, that's the highest number on the C of O.
So a lot of people.
So and that's, I just pointed that out.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, again, this is not part of my part of our plan is not to apply for this license in order to get a consumption lounge.
Right, and then just to go back, it's just, you know, who would be responsible for changing these, like, how would this,
Anything that we're.
what is the pathway to a legal operation on the ground floor here?
Well, you mentioned that before, so anything that we would have to do to be compliant with zoning is something that we're gonna deal with the landlord, obviously, prior to doing so. My assumption is that either that's already in place, or that already has been done, maybe it hasn't been updated. But certainly, I actually just reached out to the landlord right the second that you told me, so I appreciate you giving me that
Yeah,
information.
it's a fairly significant building filing, just changing those use groups, so I just,
Thank you.
that's open question.
No, it's a good question, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
We have no renderings. I have no,
I mean, we don't even know what it looks like.
We're not gonna be riding motorcycles there.
Okay,
Yeah, looking at the paperwork, it says that they hope to, or they anticipate, or that the spaces will be ADA compliant. But the 3 spaces that are there now on the ground floor, none of them are ADA compliant. They all have steps. From Broadway, you go in the door and there's a little area and then you step down into the retail larger space, so, that's just a I am a bit troubled by the charge towards consumption. That's a whole different, for folks in the neighborhood, that's a whole different world than a dispensary. And to see that, and you're not the only one, this is not the only application where we're seeing what we really want to be consumption. Because everybody knows that's where the big money is gonna be.
Not really.
it's not
That's not true.
at all, but
Not to be lost leader.
yeah.
I think the reason that folks are coming in from all sorts of other states and setting up shop at the early level is to get the toe under the door for what's to come for the party space.
So I appreciate you give me that your perspective on it, and I'll assure you that our objective here is that, and again, it's in our application. We're not applying for a dispensary, an on-site consumption license.
Oh, I know, but it's in your application and a consumption.
Well, actually, it's not true.
I understand what you explained.
No, you didn't understand, because we submitted 6 applications, 5 of them don't say anything about on-site consumption. One of them, we put in on-site consumption as an option. Just
I
because,
understand.
yeah, so I mean, that's certainly not objective, and then just.
Wait,
Yeah, sorry, it's done.
I'm just as a member of the community, and I've talked to a lot of folks. When we get to the world of consumption licenses, that's a whole different other discussion.
It sure is.
And right now, that rooftop is improperly leased out, rented out, used for parties.
Is it?
Yes, it is. We have video of it. Okay, it's on their website. So they have weddings up there, they have this, that, and the other. None of it is allowed. And these are just magnifying that type of thing in the neighborhood is a big concern moving forward. So, and I heard some discussion of it sound kind of like across the street, this, that, it just sounds like Howard Street and Broadway is gonna become some sort of sphere without the sphere of Party Central.
I mean, the House of Cannabis, there's a gigantic museum, I'm sure you're aware of it, called the House of Cannabis that's there.
Oh, I'm very.
Well, I was about to say.
It's a,
So I'm saying,
they have a
in
lounge,
the context,
they say they can rent out and you can like.
right, so I'm
party
saying,
out.
in the context of conversation, just to your point. The benefit that you have of a licensed dispensary, let's over there, dispensary versus an unlicensed dispensary, is you got compliance. You get checked by the government, all the products are tested, you have to run a certain hours, and you could lose, right, and you could lose, and you could lose.
I'm gonna stop this discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So-
I appreciate your respect, thank you.
You have 6 applications in the city?
No, just at that location.
You have 6 at that location? You're putting in 6 applications to the state for that location?
Yeah, it's a lottery.
Okay,
Each individual is allowed to apply for 3. So
Yes.
each one of those submitted 3.
okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving me the chance to be late.
Yes.
Early.
Of course, parent to parent, I get it.
My wife thanks you too.
All right.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you all.
Thank you.
Let's see, good luck.
Yeah, you can totally go. Our full board meeting is on the 19th, so the decision will be sent to DOCM, probably on the cutting end.
After we get noticed whether we're getting a license or not.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All
Good
right.
luck. Good luck, everybody.
So New York Retail 4 Inc. Anyone?
Retail, New York.
New York Retail 4 Inc.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Samir and Andrew Cooper.
Madam Chair.
You're Adam?
I'm Andrew.
You Andrew, sorry. I don't have my glasses on.
It's okay.
Very
Hey, you've
difficult.
met plenty of times, but that's okay.
And Samir,
So my name wasn't on the questionnaire, but I'm just here for like moral support staff as an advisor.
that's okay, if you want to join,
I just wanted to join.
feel free. If you would each tell the owl your name, whoever the owl is.
Oh, my name is Samir Merchant.
The questionnaire says New York Retail 4, but it's New York
Yeah.
Retail 5.
No, it's retail 4. She said, the Madam Chair had said 5 and we thought it was 4.
Okay,
Oh, I said 5?
You said 5.
Sorry.
Yeah,
so it's 4, okay.
yes. Andrew Cooper, I'm counsel, not an attorney, not an attorney. But I just, I
You
take
guys
care.
sit up here, you have to tell us.
My
who you
name
are.
is Sarah Shalani. I'm a retail cannabis advisor for Samir. I have a dispensary of my own and just assisting him in a friend capacity,
Where's your dispensary?
Massachusetts.
Hmm.
Cambridge,
Okay.
it apparently makes a difference.
Interesting. So there were some deficiencies on your initial questionnaire submission, but I do see that you really worked hard to cure those, so thank you for that.
Still have stuff you know that.
Yeah. But I see, I mean, you're doing the work. That can't be
We don't-
denied. We'll just go over it, full license with proof of control. I'm gonna look, but what kind of document did you give me?
Elise.
Fully
Yeah,
executed,
with a contingency for on licensure.
conditional lease?
Yeah.
You are the 100% owner. You hope to open in April, minority owned business. What's currently in that space? Oh, it's Matt Martin.
Yeah.
It's right here in my notes. We've actually seen this, we've gotten 3 notices for this location over the past couple of months. And I know of 2 other people, so I don't know what's going on with the landlord, but
You know what, it's, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
They'll swear to you. But, I mean, we have no reason to believe there's others here, but the fact is, that's the game they decided to play.
Yeah.
And the community boards like you have applications, multiple applications for the same site, and I've already seen it in the 30 board meetings I've been to.
Yeah.
I've seen it almost every meeting. In fact, we just left a meeting at Community Board 1, where the same location was on for 3 applications, same
Yeah.
location. So,
Hey, we know the game. There's ingress and egress on both Morton and 7th Avenue. You don't anticipate crowds.
we're
You're gonna
planning, our
queue-
security plan will contemplate, you know, a queuing system to make sure that there's not crowds. We know the area, I'm connected, I have a condo on 95 Green Street. I lived on Bleecker for a long time. So I'm a little protective of my community, for what it's worth.
What about you? What's your connection to the community?
So I haven't done too much community outreach, but we've been trying to secure the lease. And after, let's say we do get our license, working with the community, with, talking with our residents, working with, talking with the schools that are nearby. And
Do
working.
you know what schools are nearby?
There's a charter school right around the corner.
Is there? Really?
They pop up
We're
every.
gonna ask our schools and education chair.
I don't know about.
I'm just thinking City Ave is right there.
City has.
I think the charter academy or something like that.
Great Oaks, it's within.
No, Great Oaks
Great
is,
Oaks is on.
oh, yeah, it's up,
located-
it's like up Carmine.
Around there.
There's two huge blocks between you guys and a different street. Oh, actually, because it's on that, but it's still more than 500 feet.
Yeah, we checked as far as proximity.
Did you
We're
talk to the
applying.
neighbors?
Well, we're actually scheduling a meeting. The landlord of the building is arranging a meeting for us to meet with the residents of the building first.
I see that, that's impressive.
Well, to be honest with you, if we're not a good partner, it's a short term relationship. So
Yeah.
we do have some operational experience. So
In Massachusetts?
Yeah, and then also.
We understand it's a very different place than New York, we just want to provide our.
Are you from Massachusetts?
I live there currently too. So, originally from Georgia.
Okay.
he his
So-
family has experience in the franchise industry. They own multiple, they're multiple unit franchisee in other industries.
What?
Hair salons and Mexican fast food restaurants.
Loads.
Hair salon
explains a lot, I've been staring at your hair.
That is-
looks so good.
My hair used to look like that.
So, all right, so Kelsey, what made you want to come to New York? And are you staying?
I will
Do you
be
still live in
So-
Massachusetts?
So if I do get the license, I will move up here. I'll be living in the area.
So just by way of background, just so because I admit, I built out a franchise model in cannabis for a company. They're not here because it doesn't work under the TPI rules, not because, no.
Exactly.
It couldn't work. You know why it couldn't work? Because this entity actually had a cultivation facility in Rhode Island, which crosses tiers. Otherwise, it would have worked, and they're in Jersey. So it's not, no, they're good partners. It's not a bad thing, but my point is, that's how we got together,
Okay,
so.
okay, so,
He's not doing that, that's not, but I'm just saying the franchise, we're not doing it. You can stipulate.
don't get in trouble. Okay. I mean, you guys gave us really everything we asked for, except for the community engagement, which I see there's a plan to meet with the neighbors. So when you do meet with the neighbors, is your plan to curate your business around their feedback?
I think eventually, yes.
As much as
As much as
possible?
possible. We also have our own vision, but obviously we're happy to take feedback from them as well.
Oftentimes, we're torn between what everybody would like to see and the business side, but we try to do, my goal is always to do what we can to be good partners. So if they say that we're opening too early or we're staying open too late, we'll obviously change. Concerns like THC component percentages, those are business decisions, but we try to be responsible. We try to be responsive. So we're not looking, we try to make sure there's no congregating. We're gonna have we have a security guard. The security plan would be to have a security guard outside if deemed necessary to make sure traffic moves, a queuing system to make sure people don't congregate to wait to get in, assuming optimistically that we're that busy.
Okay. Question from me?
Will you have delivery?
So, but not right at first.
I think we're gonna build a delivery plan based on a variety of criteria we don't yet have, and we won't have right away. And it may not happen, but we're gonna give ourselves some time before we make a commitment either way, but we did include it. You never know how, a site develops. Sometimes they're heavy on delivery, sometimes not. This seems to be heavily foot traffic, but at times it might not be. So I'm not really sure, even though I'm from here, I didn't spend that much time west.
Busiest block in New York.
What about events? Yeah,
So grand opening, but after,
no.
Just a launch.
Hours are 10 to 10.
correct.
What about education? You said your friend, do you do any kind of education?
So they do some in Massachusetts, and then I'll be referring to them when I do need to like start for education first for our staff, and then education for the community around us.
I'm gonna start a drinking game every time somebody says this legal dispensary will drive out the illicit dispensary.
Start that conversation, but listen, we can say what we want. The fact is, we're not at the point where we can even have that conversation
Yeah,
because we
fair
simply don't have any, people don't have regulated choices. So it's only in a market where you have sufficient regulated shops to offer people options. Otherwise, they're gonna continue to go to the same place. The problem here is that we have this special sub-market we created. We didn't have this 2 years ago. We built it in the last 18 months and we didn't have to. So the frustration that I have is watching it and trying to figure out why nobody's doing anything. And still wasn't want to do anything. You know, they denied the public health emergency. They we're not up to that point. Well, when will we be up to that? When will we need that? So they can go in and regulate and enforce the regulations that they think they don't have the right to enforce.
So you have nothing to do with cannabis, or what is your connection to cannabis? Like, what's your experience? that you
So
can share?
I'm a business entrepreneur by spirit, so it's an up-and-coming industry, something I really want to get into. I see the medical benefits from it as well, and.
But you can't say that once you get licensed.
They have their own issues.
Yes.
But obviously I'm a business owner, and you know, it's a great opportunity as well, so.
Do you love cannabis? You don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I love it.
It's okay.
Yeah. No, but
I don't consume.
there are benefits for it.
Yeah. All right.
Any comments from the board members present?
So who is gonna pay to take down the enclosed sidewalk cafe? Because you won't be able to have that.
Yeah, that could be discussed. I can assist, because I think.
Well, I mean, it's kind of an important question, at least negotiation.
Did you discuss it with the landlord?
That's something that has been discussed from our own, I'm sorry. go ahead.
No, I'm just saying the enclosed sidewalk cafe is only eligible for use by eating and drinking establishment.
That's what we understand as well, and the landlord has made it clear that that space would be available to use for us if we did a change of occupancy, and that the landlord would support that, but if we were not able to get
The
that.
enclosed sidewalk cafe is the only, because that's sort of easement of the city, it should be taken down when it's ended. Under the new program, there's only a provision for eating and drinking uses on the sidewalk.
And you can't do food.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I said,
that would be an obligation that the landlord would have,
correct.
and that's what he said, so.
Did
We
he
would-
say that he was taking
He
it
knows he has
down,
to
or
take it.
did he say you would have?
He said he knows he has
Yeah,
to take
so-
it down.
He didn't.
He knows he has to take it down.
The landlord has made us aware that this is a stipulation of his property. We are going to try to work with the city to see if we can utilize that as our space. If it is not available or not allowed, then we will not utilize it. That's our understanding from the landlord. We're also new to this process. That's what the landlord has told us about that space. He's made it very clear that there is.
What if you couldn't do that?
If we could not use it as retail cannabis,
Would you be willing not to use
that's what we
any?
would have to do. We would have to take it down, and whether we would have utilized that or the landlord in conjunction.
I don't see any feasible use of that space because the regs will not permit you to do anything with it that would otherwise make sense to have it.
I speak for myself, but that's a hard no for me, if that's even in play,
No, I agree.
like at all.
But there's nothing we can, my point is, there's no use we can make of it, even though whether it stays there or not, there's no
Right
use we can
now,
make.
we don't know what's gonna
We
happen.
can't advertise on it, we can't sell from it, we can't have product in it, we can't have on-site consumption in
Taken
it.
down, it's on
Has
an
to be
easement
taken
from the
down.
city and it's only allowed uses as an enclosed sidewalk cafe.
Then that's what will be
The
done.
landlord has to take it down.
Yeah, it just insists that the landlord take it down.
Would you
That's-
stipulate to
He's
that?
obligated to take it.
Would you stipulate to that?
I think we can.
I don't know why I'm asking you.
Sorry.
Would you-
The
The sole owner of this business, would you stipulate to that? Would you
I think we would have to, yeah.
make a legal agreement to ensure that that would be taken
Well-
down and you would never operate inside of it?
The only thing, no, my only concern is I don't want to do that and have the landlord find out and then say, well, now it's your problem. You understand that? That's my concern. Right now, it's his problem. If I do that, he's gonna say, well, you agreed to it, you take it down.
Are there any questions from the committee?
I just said that the second question was that there's an operating business in the location.
Yeah.
They have indicated their intentions to our community board that they're renewing their liquor license to extend their term.
What?
And so how is that?
We've seen this happen 10,000
How is that going to, how can you have control over it if
Somebody else
we have
is in
somebody
there.
else actively operating in there, actively advertising, actively renewing their license?
I have a executed lease from that landlord, and if I choose to accept it, I assume mine would stand over the current.
Well, they're there.
Did you see other leases with contingencies from other space?
I have personally, I have not
Okay.
in my capacity as chair of this committee.
Because I mean, I found, not that this is applicable, but I found cards with proximity protection. In some instances, we're never able to convert that to an executed lease.
Right.
And they've been selling themselves as having proximity protection at community board meetings, which is lovely because they think somehow they're gonna convince the community board simply to deny it or to give an advisory
We asked
opinion.
for the letter, by the way, we asked for that
Right.
email.
Well,
confirming
listen,
the proximity
I've been to,
protection.
I've had that happen, it's happened 3 times.
Yeah,
And it's like, we know, first of all, we question whether they ever had proximity protection. But in this instance, the tenant now may be optimistic in thinking he can stay, but the fact of the matter is he's a month-to-month tenant as far as we know. Because he just said the operative word, which is renew the lease.
no, renew the liquor
Oh,
license.
the liquor license. Right now, he has a month-to-month, my understanding is that lease is expired. But I think when he renews his liquor license, he has to show an active lease.
Because his lease term would have been shorter than his liquor license, so the liquor license initially should have been issued.
Right, but if he's renewing his liquor license, it means that his lease term probably is expired.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Well, it doesn't matter, you just said if it mimics the lease term.
No, it doesn't. It's-
Okay, I didn't think so either, I thought that's what you said.
What I said is that the origination date on this term of the license, I'm saying the liquor authority is much better than the CM, but.
Well, the liquor authority, better in one sense, they will shut you down if you're operating illegally. We won't, cannabis don't say that doesn't happen.
But that's not what I said, nobody said they're operating illegally, what I said was that the lease term now, if in fact their lease is expired, they shouldn't have even been eligible for a liquor license because they have not had the liquor license for a long enough term. Because you can't have a shorter lease term than the length of the liquor license.
Yeah, I think just to help clarify, it feels to me that there's a presumption being made that due to the renewal request of this prior applicant, Mad Morton's, that there's an assumption that there's a longer tenured lease. The landlord has had a discussion with Samir. I've been a part of that discussion. That's why I'm speaking on behalf of this topic, is that when you come in and you get an approval, we will remove Mad Morton's. It is something that we're not privy to their lease. We're not privy to their agreements. Our discussion is with the landlord and with the duly executed lease that he has with the landlord. So while I understand that a renewal request may seem like they may have possession, until we don't have their lease, we won't know. I'm sure the board won't know, and we are gonna act in the manner that we have possession, because that's what the landlord has told us.
Okay.
I'm just curious why, when there's an operating business, I mean, you probably won't know about this, but why the landlord is, you know what I mean, like.
So I know, I actually have a general idea. My understanding is Mad Morton's actually operates, again, from the landlord's words, please do not quote us, we're directly speaking from the landlord, is that that restaurant is a pop-up restaurant, does not operate 7 days a week. They have special events and they utilize their license as needed for events that they have. So it is a semi-vacant space from what we understand.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very close to JJ Walker. The rec center and City Ave. But state compliant. As far as those, did you do any outreach? There's a high school there that serves a vulnerable population of kids.
What's the name?
It's City,
Uh,
it's a transfer school, so only starts in the 10th grade, so it's about the kids who are unable to continue their high school education.
Really? What do
Yeah,
you think we could, you have any ideas?
I mean, reach out to the principal, I guess. A lot of those kids actually aren't in the building most of the day because they actually work outside of the school.
but that does mean that they're walking
But they
around.
are walking.
Yeah, so like
Okay.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they go to school and then they go to their internships or externships. But that does mean that they're
I know
students.
these students historically like on a certain. I
So-
mean, are they still up back, or are they just, like,
I mean, they're just kids.
no, what I'm saying, the school, what's the school focus on it as far as,
The kids that have not found success
Yeah,
in
the kids
traditional.
Yeah,
Okay.
in a traditional educational
Got it.
environment, so the entire school is that, right? So
Okay.
it's called a transfer school.
got it.
Well,
So
we're talking
definitely talk to the
I was
principal.
from, I grew up in the city, but I wasn't, a lot of the terms changed, we didn't have that.
We used to call them burnout schools.
Yeah, we call a lot of things. But not by
This is
design.
not that. These are actually, I know a lot of kids that go to this school and they find great success
Yeah.
there because, you know, it's a lot of project-based learning
Mhm.
and
Yep.
hands-on real-world experience, which is great. And JJ Walker, which is a huge field that many of our little leagues and soccer and,
Sure.
you know, the kids use. My own goes there after school, don't cover your face, after school often and hangs out.
Well, I'll talk to them later.
Yes, have a conversation with kids, but you know, just that they're around, right? And it really is like a family area before you hit Houston, kind of,
The library.
and that tunnel traffic
Okay.
comes up on you, but there are a lot of kids there at Shake Shack all day,
Yeah.
and we wouldn't want to see smoking outside. We wouldn't want to see a huge, you know, cannabis presence like this. So what are your, I mean, is it a landmark building? It's not, right? You
No.
said you're gonna paint. Didn't you say you were gonna paint
Yeah,
the
I mean,
front
as far as renovations go, that's,
and clean it up, from what I recall?
it doesn't look like it's gonna require that big of an investment on the,
Why
on
do I
the.
feel like there's like
on the tap.
stone outside of that? I don't know. So you're not gonna paint it a hot pink is what you're saying?
And we're not trying to adopt children, you know.
Okay.
I don't know if we're allowed to paint it hot pink.
It depends, they're very specific shades.
Yeah, not pink.
You can use pink, you just can't use a specific pink,
Not like
there's
bubble
like
pink.
color codes.
I'm not sure Tar Heel blue is allowed.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting how they came to these conclusions.
Well, it's kind of anything on the outside. You can't have any advertising.
There's not really an
You
opportunity
can't
for
look
it.
in, you can't create it, I mean, you
Because
know.
what is Mad Martin doing? They have those neon lights right in the window. No neon. How are you gonna attract customers? It is really
You
a
gotta
dark
aggregate
space.
data is really the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Aggregate data and then you direct mail.
Yeah.
Email, really, I mean, people don't really recognize that's kind of one of the big things. Figure out a way to aggregate your data so you can market directly to people, because otherwise you're gonna get shut down at some point.
Yeah, I wanted to, and I want everybody to hear this. I know you plan to do delivery. And before we start talking about bicycles and cars, I know that Housing Works has had great success using public transportation. And I would like everybody to consider that, to limit e-bikes on our sidewalks and more cars. And I'm not one of those anti-car people.
You're right,
But
on the liability, for liability reasons, much less.
that
You're
too,
not using vehicles.
see?
So,
So,
just gotta do a delivery plan, which is the reason we'll give ourselves a little bit of time to get in and kind of figure out the flow and see where it works, where we're getting most of our deliveries, and if we can use public transportation. It's something we've already spoken about.
yeah, so
I'm not sure I'm kind of concerned about this e-bike thing. Even though there's not gonna be any markings, people are gonna figure it out, right? At some point, people are gonna figure out who the delivery guys
yeah,
are and how they're delivering.
so, I mean, yeah, please be open to alternative delivery ideas that will not have a huge impact on our community. And also public transportation is like definitely cost effective for you guys too, like better.
Were there renderings? I don't see it.
No, we didn't have any, but if we want, we can try to put like at least an artist rendering of the facade. I mean, we can get plans, we'll give you the plans, but the plans are not gonna be developed yet.
I mean, we've been in there, we know what it looks like. How different is your vision?
And we're gonna keep generally the same vision, but I mean, obviously, once you have an architect that comes in.
It's kind of like a salon vibe.
Just for costs, you know, we're trying to, one of the reasons you can succeed is you can't create debt service that you're beholden to. So if you can minimize it, I mean, Housing Works was built for 150 grand. And then Union Square was built for 2+.
Yeah, and then they made $1 million a week for like months and months and months. They're like 150 grand.
Crazy. But that's because that's what the unregulated shops are making. Close to it.
Yeah, all right.
Just as a note, the term of the lease is 15 years and it commences in 20.
Is there a flexible option for termination in that lease? Is that something you have?
I'm just telling you, I mean,
Well, I mean,
I
if
don't
there's-
know, I'm just telling you guys what was presented to us.
No, we'd love a copy of that because again, as we're told by the
No,
landlord.
this is your lease that you.
Okay, but our lease are.
I'm talking about the materials, so even you can foil them from the community board office, those were the materials that we presented with the liquor license.
Oh, from Mad Norton, I sent you their lease, did you look at it?
What's that? I did not look
Oh.
at theirs, I looked at the one, since you said they're month to month, operating intermittently, that would be in violation of the liquor license, which I doubt that they're doing, be regularly.
We'll take a look at their lease.
Yeah, I didn't say.
There's a lot of questions here that are being breezed through, and the control of the space is one. Control of the space, which is not entitled to if you're operating a dispensary, which is all the outdoor space. Which is, you know, through revocable consent of the city, through the sidewalk cafe process, is not part of your building. The wall inside the building was removed improperly many years ago, where there's supposed to be a dividing wall from the sidewalk cafe. So there's a lot of open issues here, is more of my points. That seem unexplored, and then the fact that it's being marketed to many people without answers to this, I just. Sharing the information with you from our knowledge of this and the community board's knowledge and other parts of this process that you may not have visibility to.
A lot of those things are concerning, so thank you for sharing.
Are there any questions from the public? Seeing none? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so
Best
much.
of luck to
Appreciate
you.
your time. Seen everybody except for Mr. Levy. You are here. I have not been able to share your questionnaire yet, which I'm going to do momentarily. With the rest of the committee, because it came in late.
What address is it?
22 spring.
22 Spring. Oh, we have two?
Two.
Give me 1 second. All right, let me do this way. Can I ask if anybody else is here on any other applications? What's the address of your premises?
Joseph's other applications, 234.
Okay. All right. So you guys are your last ones for the evening.
I'm sorry, I'm a little late. I appreciate the accommodation. We came from another board. It's funny how.
How How was CB3?
It was 3, yeah.
How was 3? They were all texting me all night.
It was funny, they agreed to take us first, understanding we had all these boards to go to tonight, but they didn't have a quorum, so we had to stick around and wait for people to show up. It was just the chair for like 30 minutes.
Tammy,
Sarah,
chair of the committee.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
You sure there?
And I think there's 2 right here. There's the first one. And I am literally just gonna not print, but print them to share with you guys as a PDF rather than in the spreadsheet, because it's like transpose it and thing when I do it that way. Where is it? All right, but while we're waiting, I'm just gonna read. So, did you introduce yourselves for the record?
Joseph Levy here on behalf of Friendly Flower 2 Inc. I have with me one of the application principals, Joshua Folquier.
Okay. I thank you. Thank you for coming. If you don't want to withdraw, Friendly Flower 2 Inc. at 22 Spring Street is an adult use retail dispensary. You're applying for full licensure with location. You're the principal. So David and Jessica are your partners, and Jessica is actually the principal owner at 51%,
She's the majority owner.
making it,
Female-owned business.
a woman-owned business
And a woman who lives in this community.
and a C application.
Correct.
Gotta love women.
Definitely.
They're good for something, good for something.
And again, she lives in this community.
Is she here tonight?
She's not here.
Traveling, unfortunately, couldn't make it, but really did want to be here.
We really do like to hear from the principal when we can.
I fully appreciate that. And again, one of the reasons.
What is her connection to this community?
She lives in this community.
For how long, which neighborhood?
She lives on Lafayette Street and she's been here for, I think, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, quite a while, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I've also lived in and around the community my whole life, 31 years.
And Josh and his brother David, both from New York City, they own a number of restaurants throughout New York City. They have liquor license, a good license history, clean license history, no issues.
What makes you want to get into cannabis?
Well, I went to NYU, I had classes in this building and I felt safer smoking pot back then when it was really illegal. And I have the last couple of years, since a lot of the stuff people are mentioning has come up. And it really motivated me to do something about it and to be a part of the solution. And the businesses Joseph mentioned, kind of served a similar approach in food and beverage. I wanted to do things better than they were being done. And I thought that there was room for that. Because I love and respect my community and I see sort of bad business practice left and right. So I thought, you know, why not go in there and do it right?
You think you can do it better?
I think I can do it compliantly and well, yeah, I do.
Okay. Hold on, sorry, I'm just sharing this with the rest of the committee. 22.
Spring Street.
So we've had a lot of applications for that block. And you know that there's a playground, like literally right there. The Salvia.
Where?
It's between Mott and Mulberry on Spring. No?
I didn't know about that one either.
And there are 2 listed dispensaries at 33 and 55.
We're very well aware of those.
Okay. Sorry, just going
What
back.
are your hours?
No, they're right here. They just have this here. All right, what kind of documents did you share with us?
Option release.
An option to lease.
Lease that's fully executed, not an LOI, something that required consideration and is actionable when we find out if we have a license.
Okay.
I was not able to upload the CFO for some reason, and was just kind of locking it out, so I brought copies of the latest existing TCO if you want to see it.
Okay. We will look at that, please.
I also was having trouble uploading this mood board they put together because it was too big of a file, so I have copies of that as well, if you would like to see how we went to.
Thank you.
Mood board, it's not really something that like figure out.
Thank you.
And then the most recent TCO for the building is in the back. You'll see it's used group 6 stores, or the TCO is outdated and certainly reactivated.
Okay.
Big store.
That's fine. All right, sorry, we're gonna go back to our application. So you did proximity check, there are no churches, retail dispensaries, houses of worship, school grounds. According to you, no drug treatment facilities.
I didn't know the 2 illegal dispensaries on there.
Your security will mitigate smoking outside and loitering. You know, 10 to 20 employees.
Rotating on all at once.
The director, what's the square footage of your space?
800 ground floor, about 500 in the basement.
Not huge.
Not huge.
And what are you using the lower level for?
Storage.
Exclusively? Where will you staff take breaks?
Wherever they'd like to take breaks.
No breaks.
Crazy.
All right, so on their breaks, how are you gonna make sure that they're not congregating in front of the store?
What will be store policy? So we're gonna have security inside and outside, and on the outside. Maintaining the frontage is clear, people aren't smoking, people aren't talking loudly, people aren't creating a bottleneck on the sidewalk, creating, you know, a little log jam there, and same will go for staff, they'll know that they can't do that as part of the store policy.
Okay. I mean, and speaking for myself here, like in the winter, right, the space is not really big enough to like have a place for them to hang out. In my opinion, said 800 square feet up top.
It's actually 850 is what, I think it's closer, it's somewhere between 800 and 850.
And in the winter, you're gonna have to put them out on the street, tell them to move along. I mean, maybe make a deal with a nearby establishment.
We'll work something out.
Yeah. Being like the sad delivery kids.
We're not gonna do
I don't
that.
know, just in my mind, my mental movie. You're gonna do delivery, how are you gonna deliver?
I like your idea of using public transportation. I hadn't thought about that.
It's smart.
It is smart and cost effective.
Smart.
Nice.
It's so horrible, my kid cringes every time I do it. Let's see. But not right away delivery, introduced in the future, so it
Correct.
doesn't create an issue.
Probably in waves also, so that's not just recurring all day long, we'll have like windows, so we can manage it and plan for it.
Tell us about the community outreach you did.
So we haven't really done much yet, not because we don't want to, we don't think it's important. But because we like to be prepared for all of that, and one of the reasons that I had actually asked to lay this over was to make sure that we could do an appropriate amount of outreach and be prepared for it. They've just recently met with their designers, they're working on floor plans and full plans and a full deck, which they wanted to have in hand before they engage with people in the community, which they absolutely intend to do.
these guys have liquor licenses, they've been through this process before. They understand what's involved, they know the block associations, the landlord of the building, is going to be apparently putting together people who live in and around the building. Put a meeting together for them, but they wanna be prepared for it, they don't wanna come to a meeting and say, hey, we're gonna do this thing, but we've got nothing really to show.
Mhm. There's 16 units in the building. Okay. Hundred facade, no changes to the facade, is it landmark?
No, no changes regardless.
It's in a historic district.
It's in the
though.
Little Historic District, so probably.
But it's a great facade, I don't wanna touch it.
Tell me about it.
It's just perfectly fine, the framer did a great job with it, and I'm.
Where is the residential entrance in relation to your
left.
entrance? The left?
Yeah, there's a residential hallway separating two retail spaces. Of which we're one of them.
Like a whole, its own door though?
Yeah, like the residential entrance and hallway split two retail spaces, of which we're on the right side of.
Okay. With the same address?
That's a good question, but I wouldn't imagine.
What's the other business?
It's a.
Is it Wyan? Is it a plant store? There's a, on the right is the restaurant Wyan, and on the left is question, I don't know.
So you're 10 to 10, 7 days a
Oh, no, I
week.
was right, it is Wyan, it's the restaurant.
What are the hours on the restaurant?
Noon to 11 Tuesday and noon to midnight Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then 11:30 a.m. to midnight. Oh, it's different every day. Saturday, and then 11:30 to 11 on Sunday, and noon to 11 on Monday. Pretty complex. I don't know if you caught that.
Okay. You don't think you need soundproofing,
We may, when we build it out, we're not sure, but it won't be, you know.
but you're willing to invest if necessary?
Correct.
Absolutely.
But
Gotta
it's built
talk
out,
to the
music
neighbors.
here, that kind of thing.
Again, you're having contact with anybody, no nearby schools, harm reduction facilities, houses of worship, parks, playgrounds.
Not yet.
No,
We're
we've got-
working with the landlord to organize a meeting.
Correct.
We plan to be a great neighbor on the block, undertake to treat this neighborhood like it's our own. Neighborhood give back programs, tell me about those.
A bunch of things that we're thinking about doing. First of all, is committing a percentage of the sales to like a local nonprofit.
Can you do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Is that the first time you've heard that?
No, not even remotely.
Okay.
Go on.
That definitely like, our principal, Jessica, she does a lot of educational, she's like on a lot of educational nonprofit boards, and she's proposed putting together some like classes and lectures for kids in the neighborhood and things like that as well,
For what in the neighborhood?
for children in the neighborhood.
Cannabis programs for children in the neighborhood?
No.
No, she sits on the board of a lot of educational
Yeah.
nonprofits, so she's gonna do programming locally, not
Okay.
cannabis applications.
Oh, that'd be great.
Although maybe one day.
Okay,
So we can
interesting.
talk about the effects of cannabis in the developing brain, there's the reason why the
Yeah.
next one is 21. So I think that's really important.
It should be 25.
Yeah, it should be older, but definitely the impact that it's just, the studies are not, the data is never good.
No,
So yeah, I mean, I think being in a legal dispensary and then explaining all that, just, you know, I think increases your legitimacy.
I agree.
Tell us about, how, do you have bars or restaurants?
Yeah.
Both?
They're restaurants. With,
Restaurant bars,
yeah,
where are they?
2 on the Upper East Side
Mhm.
on 78th Street between Lex and 3rd Avenue. And then one in Chelsea on 17th Street,
What's the name of the one in Chelsea?
not 17,
How long has it been open?
2 years.
And Sushi Knots has been open for much longer.
Yeah, the main store on 78th Street. has
Wait,
been
what's it
open.
called?
The main shop is called Sushi Nas, that's like the flagship.
Oh, Sushi Knot. Nas, NAS,
NOZ,
NOZ.
although Nas NAS has been to the restaurant.
Well.
It's another client.
Uh,
Looks pretty civilized. Tell me the name of the place that's on there.
It's got 2 Michelin stars.
I mean, are you back there cooking? Don't pat yourself on the back. I'm joking.
No, no.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
No, but certainly like our brand and reputation are gonna be associated with this business, so. I am at this point, I am actually a Michelin star restaurant operator, so is the one in Chelsea, also has a Michelin star. So there's definitely a standard that I plan to keep just due to my background in hospitality, so I hope that's reassuring also to the board. And certainly my concept is to bring that exact mentality from.
Makes me feel great. I don't know what's gonna happen when we let Carter talk. Are there any questions from the committee?
Yeah, I've got, will you have events? A small space, you said.
Yeah, so we put in there that events are not part of the business, maybe 1 a month at most. I don't.
That's a lot.
I don't think
But
so.
it depends how we're gonna define events.
Exactly.
I don't really know, maybe like.
And maybe like
some
workshops
product
and-
Launch thing, or maybe it's a workshop, maybe
So when
that's
you
an
think of
event.
events, what do you think?
I mean, I'm not thinking about.
What do you think when
DJs
you
and-
think?
I was thinking more like workshops and like classes and lecture type of events, more so than like, I think maybe like,
Yeah,
that
was not, that's not the intent.
and like you said, the space is too small for a good party anyway.
Exactly.
I just plugged in the address and there's a shed out front.
Oh.
That would belong to the restaurant, why not?
Not us.
Not us. This has never been a
Wait,
restaurant.
there's another one right next door though, isn't there?
No, it's the frame shop. That's right.
You actually cannot see it from Google Maps.
Yeah.
It's blocked by that.
So there's, just to get this Made, the frame shop, the Wayang,
Yeah.
and then, it's the bar, that's the. Mother's Brew.
Mother's Brew.
Yeah, thank you. Mother's Brew, so that's that block, and then Rinse and Tin. And then on the other side is the corner shop, which you have 2 applications that are not being heard tonight, but that are on the agenda. That's, I think, the whole block.
Yeah, that's
on the
basically it.
south side.
We did ours. I think we went over all this stuff.
What are the hours?
They were 10 to 10, 7 days a week, right? I got it.
Good. I'm good. Any
Board members present?
Just, it's 250 is the measurement, playground roughly. And I don't know the specifics of playgrounds, but just bringing that up. And then the,
I mean, New York didn't opt in to playgrounds. We could have that playground, and I think we should at this point, because we have so many applications near that play, like in front of that playground.
Yeah.
On all, like both
Yeah, yeah.
sides. It's really bizarre. If I were going to open a dispensary and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go look at that space, and that space was directly facing a playground, I would not be like, this is a great place for a dispensary. But that keeps happening in this instance. I can't imagine why.
Unfortunately, we're playing with the constraints of the regs, and we're also playing with the constraints of the landlords that we're negotiating with. These guys are looking for spaces for years. I can't tell you how many leases we've gotten in and out of because of the last minute landlords.
This is
decided
not
to
the
pull.
first time we've seen 22, is it? I don't know, I feel like I would have to go, I would have to go back to one.
probably the liquor license at the same address that you're.
Is there a liquor
It's
license?
on the other side of the storefront. But
what sheds out?
I mean, the reason you remember is because there perhaps, it might not be, but there is a lot of discussion because the small storefronts are being used for all the purposes except small retail,
Yeah.
and that was the concern. So that was the only history here at this location, that there was a problem. And as Joseph mentioned, that the TCO it's a TCO, not a final CFO. But I know he's probably done more due diligence than other people appearing before us, because he is familiar with the process of that background, checking out this stuff, so we know. burdened with.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about the playground.
Yeah, I mean,
That's definitely an issue for us. Well, for me, I can't speak for the rest of
I
the
totally,
community.
I totally appreciate that, and for us, you know, the law does not have a rule with respect to playgrounds inside of
Yeah,
this
I
area.
mean,
It
communities
could.
do have the ability to have any location designated a community, public use facility.
Well, that's true, but I think there's a little discussion over whether that's a New York City call or a community court call, and I feel
Oh,
like they
it's a
should
New
be
York
both
City
ways.
call, it will require legislation,
Right.
but that's also a phone call to our city council person or a resolution
Of
that says,
course.
we want this, and then they take it and it's done.
Of
It's
course.
not as complicated, I think, as many attorneys probably want it to be.
Well, they have to pass an ordinance, right? And I don't think New York City is gonna do that, because they've generally been pretty pro cannabis. But you see from the mood board, you could look up his other restaurants. This is not the kind of place that's gonna have the big neon cannabis leaf, not that you could do that
Yeah,
anyway.
it's illegal.
But
Yeah.
you see the aesthetic, you see what they're trying to do. They're not trying to build the kind of place that is necessarily gonna be an eyesore or be a draw to kids or something like that. They're trying to do something that's bespoke, that's interesting, and that kind of stays in its own lane. We see the hours are not crazy. We're just trying
Do
to.
you plan to expand?
I don't think there is the possibility to, unfortunately, since there's the hallway between the two spaces. Although I would have liked the space to be a little bit bigger, yeah.
So why this space?
Like Joseph said, I think we're kind of we worked a lot on what was available to us, what met the criteria, and I've been looking for almost 3 years and landed on, here we are on the space, and it checks the boxes and it worked for me. My other restaurants are all actually also under 1,000 square feet, so it's a size I'm familiar with, and I think to do things at a really high level, there is kind of like a limit on how big you can do it, so I'm actually okay with the size.
And how involved will you personally be with this?
I'm gonna operate it.
What about your other businesses?
I'll operate those too.
Any questions? Pete?
I just want to point out that there was concern about this space. Some of the others that were laid over because they've been, looks like, many of them are in Little Italy that laid over, but now we're finding they didn't lay over, but people chose not to come.
Oh, yeah, no, people, all of these cannabis, we had 77 last month, remember?
Right, but these were just announced to be laid over.
What was
before.
announced? We only have one layover,
No,
which was granted by accident.
This is laid over, number 2. Number 3,
No, it's crossed out.
Oh,
Because
so-
Florence.
so
No,
why don't they just remove it if it's laid over? That's very confusing.
it is, I agree.
And just letting.
It was accidentally marked as laid over.
Okay.
We were not able to offer layover because we would have fallen outside
Understood.
of
People
our
made
comment
choices
period.
Based on this information, thinking it was.
Will you
laid
write a letter to the office, please?
Hmm?
I know you can write a letter. Will you just write Mark and just say, you know, this is confusing, the way that it's done? Thank you.
Sorry.
Anything else on this application? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you. Oh, you're staying.
I'm staying. I'm just gonna.
The other one, I guess, you guys.
I don't have that. I don't have that.
I'm downloading it right now.
Good evening.
Yeah, the last day, there's the second one. Sending it to you right
What's
now.
the address? What's the address and your name?
234 Bowery.
And
I'm Matt Kliegman, I'm Joseph's client. I operate a handful of businesses in New York, primarily downtown. I graduated from NYU. I lived on Elizabeth Street and Prince for 13 years at 235 Elizabeth Street. I now live in Brooklyn. Forum Hill. Convenient to get into Manhattan.
Yeah.
My office is in Bushwick.
Why'd you abandon the city? The city.
My
block.
wife, my wife got married. I had been in the apartment for 13 years at that point, and she very quickly said, we need to find a new place. And, typical stuff, you start to look around, realize in some cases Brooklyn can afford you more space.
Okay.
But I think they took my apartment and divided that into 3 small rooms. So it's-
Oh, this is not downloading and I don't know why. My Wi-Fi is spotty. That is really weird. Sorry, please bear with us. I'm gonna start having people, making the deadline Thursday. So I don't spend my weekend transposing and reviewing applications. Sit down. Where? All right, I mean, you can tell us a little about your business. Would be great.
Sure. Matt was just introducing himself. Matt is another hospitality person who's getting into cannabis. He's involved in one way, shape, or form in how many places at this point?
Close to 20, probably. 11 of which are bakeries.
What are the other ones?
Pebble Bar at Rockefeller Center. Just a townhouse attached to Rockefeller Center, putting on East 6th Avenue. There's Jack's on Bond, which was previously the Smile, which operated for 14 years on Bond Street. Smile to Go, which are 2 takeaway versions of our original full service restaurant. One is on Howard Street, one is on Lexington.
Are they rowdy places?
No.
Do you have any
Maybe.
nightclubs?
We have one venue at the Freehand Hotel called the Georgia Room. I would say that is probably the rowdiest of them all, but most of ours are pretty mature at this point.
So you're part of a hospitality group?
So I would say half my time is focused on Black Seed. We have 10 locations and 11th
On,
bakery and Chelsea Market, all in.
oh, the bakeries?
Yep,
What's it called?
Black Seed.
Black Seed, I've been there.
So it is a bagel bakery. First one is on Elizabeth Street.
Yes. You have the stand
We have something in Brookfield Place, there's something in Rockefeller
right
Center.
across from King. They're right across from King.
Chelsea Market.
Yes, I know it.
We also have a bakery in the basement of Chelsea Market called Alf Bakery.
Okay.
Two months ago, so half my time is spent on Black Seed and half of this is spent with a group called Authentic,
Mhm.
which is beverage leading venues. All quite special, I think, and when it comes to design, I think our goal is just to design beautiful places and have great food and great drinks and, you know, the question you asked previously about why cannabis for a hospitality person, for me, it was just about providing venues for people to have a good time. So I don't party the way most people party. So it's related to just, I also don't smoke marijuana anymore, so it's just continuing to provide good opportunities for people to enjoy themselves.
Okay.
So the application here is for full retail dispensary with delivery, also no social consumption,
What's the address again?
234 Bowery.
The 234 is one of the Bowery restaurant supply business buildings that the Bowery restaurant supply.
Application. Questionnaire.
There are no tenants in the building.
Okay.
3 stories. It's each floor is 1,100 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe there's a residential.
How many floors are you gonna occupy?
Well, we will be leasing the entire building.
Okay.
The top floor will just be storage, office, break rooms.
Is there roof access?
No, I don't have door space access. I'm happy, I have no desire to do a rooftop bar. Rooftop consumption, whatever it would be.
So how many stories is it?
It's 3 stories.
Three.
Yeah,
And so upstairs is storage and you're gonna use the ground floor and
in the second
the
floor.
cellar level.
So there's no cellar.
Oh, so it's
Ground
first and
floor.
second floor. Tell us what that looks like, what's happening on floor 1 and floor 2.
Well, if you, so our Rockefeller Center bar, Pebble Bar has 3 stories. Each story has a slightly different vibe. So I think here, the ground floor will probably be largely retail. And the second floor will be retail light. And that's where we'll, have the opportunity to host events and tastings and once a month.
Once a month, events and tastings of cannabis.
That's, people apparently like to taste.
Okay, but we don't have regs on food yet.
No, not.
Oh, you mean just to sample?
There's absolutely no.
Yeah, more like
no-
product launch kind of things, not like,
So we're talking on-site consumption is the goal.
no,
No.
not on-site consumption.
No, according to the regs, you're allowed to have, brand launches, tastings, according to my attorney.
Not consumed on site, like brand launches where people can see things and maybe take things to go, not consumed.
Huh?
These were really common, the stores in California.
Yeah, but we don't have regs for it yet.
Well, no, where they would have,
Oh, they can't do logos
product,
either.
product launches
They can do special or discounts of any kind.
by bringing in new users. I thought that was the point of.
I mean, they can do like promotional events with their brands on site, but they can't advertise, like there's,
Yeah.
it's
They
really.
can't in California either. I mean,
But people do it.
So,
All right, so this is the only application you put in all of New York City or New York State?
No, this is the only one on this board. We had another one that we just came from.
Oh, you just came from one, so
This
same
meeting.
2 applicants?
Same landlord.
Him, not the other guy.
Okay,
For him, we were at CB3 before this,
is it on the other side of
on the
Bowery?
other side of Bowery.
Look at you guys trying to lock it up.
Well, what's funny is this landlord sells kitchen equipment
Yeah,
to 90% of the restaurants. But, I have a very long-standing relationship with him and I thought to reach out just because I like him. And he was shared with me that no one's approached him and he has no mortgages on any of his properties. So I do think that hopefully we will get one or the other. The other one is immediately adjacent to.
Yeah, they won't get both because they're within 1,000 feet of each other. So if we get one, the other one's gonna be knocked out. But at least it's a legitimate way of throwing another ball into the game.
do you mind if I ask what the response was from CB3? Did they vote?
Yes, approved, unanimous,
Approve or deny unless?
approved.
Into this one? All right. So your proposed hours are
12 to 10.
12 to 10, 7 days a week? It's a woman-owned business, I didn't look
No.
at the,
No.
It doesn't qualify as a C application.
okay, but you put woman-owned business.
I don't think so.
Am I looking, I'm looking at the
You might be looking at the wrong one.
He's 1/3 owner, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I'm 1/3 owner,
Of the other.
two
Did I
owners are
send you the right one
also
or the
1/3.
wrong one?
You sent us the right one.
You sent us the right one.
What am I looking at?
Like,
What?
Yeah, oh, we're done, okay, so. Board questions? Board members present?
I was just gonna say, I've known Matt, he's known our board for a long, long time. In fact, I think his first licensed premise was in our board, is that correct?
Yeah, 2009.
Yeah, so it's not a newcomer, and I personally know living next door to one of his businesses now for a number of years. I mean, he's certainly a neighborhood operator. We'll
we'll say that. I
That,
think
do you know what that means, the critter saying?
and he's matured, certainly, I don't know if matured.
perfect.
He's,
What do you
But he
mean?
certainly created a variety of
No,
things.
You have no idea.
I know.
No, but he's had, he's had an opportunity to operate in any which way here in our board, and, you know, the places that he's been a principal in have always played out into the right way, you know, and certainly now later on, that's certainly the case. I think there's some.
We've had a little bit of adversity. At the
Yeah, it's a
beginning,
little
but,
bit of bumpy start, but that's, you know, I mean, that was a long time ago.
Builds character.
The one thing I was just gonna say is that my concern here is what happens if Bowery sells and develops. Because they have that huge thing, which I know you're not a foreigner to that problem.
It's true.
And so I just bring that up because in the cycle of the Bowery, this is always talked about, it's a development site, and I feel like we're in another cycle that's just about to begin.
So Richie has not been, we have not been uncomfortable talking about the reality of, and in our lease, there was a demolition clause, which is the second lease I've ever signed with a demolition clause. So I know the way that goes, but again, I think, you know, we built a lot of places, we have great relationships with contractors. I think we can be really strategic so that we don't get ourselves in a position where we spend way too much money and all of a sudden the building gets knocked down after the second or third year.
And yeah, just so everybody, this is part of a fairly large amassing of buildings on the Bowery, probably the largest, I think. And it's been speculated for a long time, constantly, that this will at some point be developed, but obviously the environment has not arrived yet, but this is the southernmost parcel of that assemblage.
Yeah.
And so that was the point.
But not necessarily our concern. Yes, Pete?
I don't think this one's linked online, so.
No, those.
Could you just let us the square footage, total square footage of the hours?
Alright.
So it's 3,000 square feet, about 1,000 per floor.
Oh, yeah, they said about 1,100.
Couldn't hear it.
About 1,100 per floor. The top floor is gonna be for storage. The second floor is going to be an educational and event space. And the bottom floor is gonna be retail.
Okay, so 1,100 on each floor.
Yeah.
Hours.
And the hours are,
Same as all, I think.
12 to 10.
yeah, 12 to 10, 7 days a week.
Okay, thank you.
And then the only thing is there is no C of O, but that's.
Yep, we know we have to deal with that. That's
Yeah.
an ongoing conversation with
Remember
the
that, yeah.
landlord.
All right, any questions from the public? Okay, we're going into business session. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
So much.
Best of luck to you.
Thanks.
So. Where do we start? Quickly, we gotta get out of here. So. No, Juan Perez, we can't comment on. We can't do anything.
What about those two that were really over?
Oh, shit, we have to vote those in right now.
What are the, I'm sorry, what I said at the beginning.
Okay, so I sent you all three resolutions. These are the resolutions that we commit from last month because we just ran out of time. It was, a denial for 420 on West Fourth.
Right.
That was due to the upkeep of the sidewalk shed and then having the same landlord and the oversaturation on the block and blah, 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 blah. There was a lot of concern. Then there was, the other one was Yogi Gupta at 171 West Fourth, which we love. And so that was denied last, and then there was, Matthew Bernard also on Bowery right there. And was that a denial or a denial last? Hold on.
I have no Wi-Fi.
The Wi-Fi died again?
They're trying to get us out of here, and just start turning off the lights.
Yeah, we gotta go. Where they are. Oh, it's in the folder. Night. Here they are. And the last one was blazing up at 178 Bowery. And that decision was a denial.
It was only one denial out of three. I agree.
Yeah, all right, so do we adopt again these vote?
Yes.
Yes. So moved. All right, those are done. We'll do first all of the ones that didn't show up.
Okay.
We're not gonna read them because of time, but we will just, you guys reviewed all my notes and all the notes. Lawrence also made notes on their proximity issues, their operational issues. There's a lot of issues with all of them. We're gonna adopt those for the resolution. And add in failure to respond to outreach, failure to appear, failure to provide documentation, plus whatever the other issues are. And that is what we will send to the OCM. As for the ones we saw tonight, we will start actually with, if I can, okay. It is front. So the Federers. We're gonna go 433 Broadway, Mocha Joint, and SOHO Dispensary Corp.
So,
Yeah.
I had no plans until last minute. And the only thing I keep hearing is, we're gonna be compliant, we're gonna be compliant, there's like.
Yeah, I mean, on proximity alone, and then also this plan for the rooftop, that would fall under manor. It's a no for me. Can I call the question? Oh, we don't call the question in committee. Is everybody ready to vote?
Yes.
All right,
It's not allowable.
huh?
It's not allowable as it stands, and they weren't able to provide an explanation of how to achieve that. Because it's supposed to be a motorcycle repair shop.
Yes, and there was also that, and so also the note, those are notes that I did make, that the use. Where is it? Premises at the top. Incorrect use group, also not ADA compliant, thank you, Pete. Consumption on the roof.
Yeah.
We've got everything down that was discussed. And of course, the proximity issue to a licensed dispensary, CAURD, Dasney Fund site. So that's a unanimous. Yes to deny. All right. Next one, Mad Morton. It is 47 7th Avenue.
Okay, New York retail floor, right?
Yeah.
So this one, I have no renderings and no neighbor outreach.
No neighborhood outreach. The neighbor outreach is a big one for me. Personally, and that sidewalk shed, which I'm not really clear what's gonna happen with it. Thoughts?
Is there a way, I guess this is, I forget from the last meeting.
The stipulations, I mean, we can ask for steps.
Right. 'Cause I would, if those were yes, I would be okay, you know what I mean? But those are the only two, the no neighborhood outreach and then the renderings, which they were saying it's because we don't have it yet, blah, 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 so, but like other people, can provide it, right? So I don't know. You guys know that more than I have, things like that. So. How do we do it last?
And well, when also the other business thinks that they're staying.
We'll stay in there for the next 15 years.
Thoughts?
Well,
Somebody make a decision.
like, what do we do at the last meeting? It's like, it feels like a million years ago.
I mean, if people don't do or have not really. I don't wanna say like they haven't really shown us that they're going to do. The community, we can't say that because we can't speak to somebody's motives. Or, you know, actions, but also like.
No, I meant.
I feel like there are more questions than answers, and I like these guys. In my
I
heart.
like the hair, you know that.
The hair is everything, but I really wish that they would have withdrawn
gotten this
sorted that stuff out
and then reapply.
and come back.
Are they still here?
No,
Yes, they are.
Is there an option to comment?
Can we break the fourth wall at this juncture? Do you guys want to take?
Just two comments, residential reach out. I'm pretty
No,
sure-
we see.
Oh, yeah, landlord is gonna set up a meeting, the plans to do that. The lease thing, obviously, we need to figure out, we're told that they have a termination clause, there's no lease. And, oh, sorry, that their lease can be terminated as soon as we get an approval, so.
So you don't want to withdraw and come back in January?
I think we can withdraw and come back, I just don't want it to be on an OCM like issue, that's why we did come here, even though we were not fully, you know.
So
have all
the,
items.
have you put your application in already?
It was submitted on November 17th, yeah.
Ah,
So that's kind of the conundrum here, is that we didn't want to not show up. We signed a lease on the 17th, started preparing.
I mean, again, your only obligation is to get that stamp from our office. Who knows how much our input is going to be taken from OCM? You fulfilled your obligation, and we appreciate you coming here.
You don't need the landlord to set anything up. This is New York. You just pick up the phone, call, email, call, just explain yourself. That's what I would do, like ASAP.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
You don't need them. Like, if you rely on the landlord, you're never gonna think that. Landlords are like one of the most unreliable people.
All right, so for me, fourth wall's back up. For me, there are more questions than answers, and so I'm gonna have to go with a deny on this one.
If we withdraw, like, and come back, is that
Fourth
work?
wall,
Understood, yeah, I just didn't know if that's an option that would.
all right, fourth wall down.
Yeah.
Would you like to withdraw?
Yes, and come back for the next meeting. It's all.
You have to give notice again, you have to put in a new notice to municipality form.
Yeah, could we be late over, because that's kind of like, we want to stay in the system, I think if we withdraw and then we get to the OCM and they say that your filing wasn't correct, we're happy to come back and present all the answers that have been stipulated upon us.
Carter,
I was gonna say, they submitted it and they submitted by a certain deadline, which was the original one. Correct.
I mean,
Not
I
an
got nothing wrong
attorney,
with it.
But I'm
Well,
not
a withdrawal,
sure
yeah,
that
for us.
takes them out of that, one would think.
Well, because they did by the full licensure deadline.
No, I'm just saying it's submitted.
It's already in.
No, I don't think, I mean, I only say this because.
I already
When-
said that to them,
Right,
though.
right, because it's the fees, it's everything else, it's a.
Yeah, I think if we withdraw, we lose our OCM, we lose our like notice period concept, so I guess we just get denied and deal with the OCM. But we'd love to still come back to the board and present you the answers.
We would love to have the answers. Please do keep in touch. All right, fourth wall.
Alright.
All right, so now I feel more comfortable with the denial since their stuff's already in and they had their stamp anyway, and who knows? All right,
So we're doing what?
we're voting. I have made a motion for a resolution to recommend denial based on all of the up in the air questions.
But what about the whole OCM thing, like
That's not our concern.
Okay.
Do we have enough confidence in this application? Deny? I know, I don't want to either, but.
This is hard.
All right, you guys can break a tie. I mean, you would create a tie.
We will create a tie.
We don't have time, we've got
Deny
2
unless,
weeks.
for me, deny unless.
I'll tell you one thing on this, you don't have a site plan. And
We don't have
that's-
a what? Too many
site
questions.
plan, and that's a contingency on what are they trying to license, which goes to the whole other questions with respect to
Because there's no
the
right.
enclosure that's significant around this building, which is probably
All right,
a gray area
Back
in
to
the
the
back
denial.
discussion.
I'm going back to denial, okay.
All right, we have a majority denial.
Sure. That's fine.
All right, unanimous denial. Okay, the next one is. Thank you, good luck.
We will
You-
reach out.
keep in touch. Do keep in touch. All right, questionnaires received. The next one is Sarah's also, oh, no. The next one is, sorry.
She's still here.
Which one?
Ms. Lee still here, so we do her next.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the denial unless on this.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Congratulations.
And so the next one is, which one? It's Mir, Rachel Katz. Rachel Katz at 257 Bleecker.
That's the one with the proximity, right?
Wait a second.
The Greater Oaks Charter.
Yes, that's the one at 37 Cornelia. I'm a deny on this one for so many reasons. The proximity to the school, the confusion with the illicit dispensary, on everything that was discussed.
Yeah.
Motion to deny, I would recommend denial.
Yes.
Yes.
One other thing for your notes is the second floor is supposed to be a residence,
Oh,
not a.
Thank you.
I didn't see the information, but they had mentioned that they had leased the second floor as part of the.
they did mention that. All right, so the next one is Eric Yap at, oh, he withdrew.
Yeah. The.
Jason moves.
SJ.
Yeah, Jason withdrew.
Yeah, he withdrew.
The next one is Mr. Alzandani.
That's the denial.
That is the denial.
Yes.
There's another issue on that, which is the distance to, one of Greenwich Housing's facilities. Which is on North Street. I'm not sure how the measurements are taken, but it is, within 500 feet.
What kind of facility is that?
I've never-
No, there's no, New York did not opt in.
That was one of the questions.
I asked
It wasn't-
questions.
and it wasn't.
Right, because we can weigh in on manner and place. And if it's going to jeopardize a vulnerable population, we can make that argument. But
There's a point where it was not.
sadly, still state compliant, which is crazy, but that's what it is. All right. And is that it? No, Elizabeth Street.
There's a couple more.
Yeah.
No, only 260 Elizabeth Street.
Well, no, there's Friendly Flower,
Levy's
Madison.
Oh, yeah, the Levys, they weren't on this list because they put in their questionnaires. 250 Elizabeth Street, the applicant was, we already did that.
We have a 22 Spring and then a 234.
Those are the last two.
Yeah.
That I have in front of me on these other weird questionnaires. I know we just did them. What were the issues?
Playground, 250 feet.
So I'm gonna go
Spring.
deny on 22 Spring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unanimous deny on 22 Spring and deny unless on
234, yes.
234.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Yes.
Second, so moved. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you guys for your patience. For everyone else.